उद्धर भूरा मां उद्धर। दक्षिणे लक्ष्मणो यस्य वामे तु जनकात्मजा पूरतो मारुतिर्यस्य तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनं तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनं तं वन्दे रघुनन्दनं। चरितं रघुनाथस्य शतकोटि प्रविस्तरम् एकैकम् अक्षरं पुंसाम् महापातकनाशनम्। चरितं रघुनाथस्य शतकोटि प्रविस्तरम् एकैकम् अक्षरं पुंसाम् महापातकनाशनम्। वाल्मीकि गिरिसम्भूता रामाम्भो निधि संगता श्रीमद् रामायणे गंगाम् श्रीमद् रामायणे गंगाम् पुनाति भुवनत्रयम् पुनाति भुवनत्रयम् श्री रामायणे गंगा पुनाति भुवनत्रयम् पुनाति भुवनत्रयम्। हे राम हे राम हे राम हे राम हे राम हे राम। आदौ राम तपोवनादि गमनम् हत्वा मृगम् काञ्चनम्। आदौ राम तपोवनादि गमनम् हत्वा मृगम् काञ्चनम्। वैदेही हरणम् जटायुमरणम् वैदेही हरणम् जटायुमरणम् सुग्रीव सम्भाषणम् सुग्रीव सम्भाषणम्। वाली निग्रहणम् समुद्रतरणम् लंका पुरी दहनम्। वाली निग्रहणम् समुद्र तरणम् लंकापुरी दाहनम् पश्चात् रावण कुंभकर्ण हननम् एतद्धि रामायणम् एतद्धि रामायणम् लोकाभिरामम् रणङ्गधीरम् राजीवनेत्रम् रघुवंशनाथम् कारुण्यरूपम् करुणाकरन्तम् कारुण्यरूपम् करुणाकरन्तम् कारुण्यरूपम् करुणाकरन्तम् श्रीरामचन्द्रम् शरणम् प्रपद्ये श्रीरामचन्द्रम् शरणम् प्रपद्ये श्रीरामचन्द्रम् शरणम् प्रपद्ये श्रीरामः शरणम् समस्तजगताम् रामं विना का गति रामं विना का गति श्रीरामः शरणं समस्त जगताम् रामं विना का गति रामेण प्रतिहन्यते कलिमलम् रामाय कार्यं नमः रामाय कार्यं नमः रामाय कार्यं नमः रामात् त्रस्यति कालभीमभुजगो रामस्य सर्वं वशे रामे भक्तिरखण्डिता भवतु मे भूरां भूरां त्वम् एव आश्रयः भूरां 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 त्वमेव आश्रयः श्रीराम जय राम जय जय राम श्रीराम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम जय बोलो श्री रामचंद्र भगवान की जय So nice, to sing the glories of Sri Ram. I don't know how, but all over the planet, Ram is very popular since last so many years. They take the meaning of pleasure, आनंद करने की जो वस्तु होती है, उसको राम नाम देते हैं. अमेरिका में वो होटल की चेन से रेमेडा, वो रामदा है, वो आनंद देने वाली जगह है, इसलिए उसको रामदा कहते हैं। और कोई भी आनंद का स्थान हो तो उसे हमेशा राम का नाम देते। मिडल ईस्ट में करेंसी है, पैसा है, वो आनंद देता है उनको, तो उसका नाम दिराम है। उनको ये पता नहीं है कि हिंदू वर्ड का नाम है, नहीं तो कल वो करेंसी बदल देंगे। और लाखों बार मॉर्निंग से जगते हैं लोग, जब से करोड़ों बार दिराम 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 दिराम, लाखों बार राम का नाम लिया जाए तो आनंद ही होगा ना। तो उनको भगवान ने तेल दे दिया है, ऑयल, सब पेट्रोल वहां से आता है। कितने सुखी है। रण है, कुछ पकता नहीं है, मगर आप जाएं तो रण जैसा बिल्कुल दिखता नहीं है। इतना पैसा है, so much riches they have, that they have brought the outer crust of soil from Australia. यहाँ से outer crust of soil they have bought, and they have spread that soil in Muscat and Dubai and Abu Dhabi and everywhere. And you go, it's all green, green, green. They have plenty of desalination plants for the water, make it soft for seawater, soft water. It's a beautiful place. What can Ram now do? That is the living example of the name of the Lord Ram. Please, without wasting a single second, we should feelingly play, Lord, pray, day and night, Lord Ram. The Supreme Pleasure Giver Center is Ram. कहीं भी आपको सुख में रहना, अंदर में रहो, राम। इसलिए हम आराम कहते हैं। मैं अगर भी क्या कर रहे हो, आराम। अरे भी राम को राम के बिना तो आराम भी नहीं है ना। हम कहते हैं ना आराम कर रहा हूं, आराम। राम जब आता है तो सुख है, शांति है। इनके चेहरे का दर्शन करते ही हमारे क्लेश सब नाश हो जाते हैं। Just have a darshan, you're completely purified. It's a very nice Supreme Personality of Godhead, non different from. Same potency he has. The only Krishna has a bit more, that he can be covered boy also, and the king also. Whereas this is the king. इसलिए इनको मर्यादा पुरुषोत्तम कहते हैं। इनका नाम हम लेते हैं तो मर्यादा आ जाती। And Maryada gives us very nice Maryada, first Maryada he has taught us, Ram Bhagwan. Then he didn't worry about his own inconvenience, but he obeyed his parents, Dasharatha particularly. You know, you have the idea of the story. That sometime in the battle, Dasharatha was nearly unconscious, and Kaikeyi was accompanying him. So Kaikeyi, because of her cleverness and very caring attitude, Dasharatha was saved. At that time, Dasharatha had given 2 benedictions to Kaikeyi. So Kaikeyi said, I don't ask you now, I don't require anything now. When the time comes, I'll ask for. And that time eventually came. Dasharatha one day saw in the mirror, and he saw only one grey hair on his head. And immediately he decided that I should not quit my throne. We have to take a lesson from this, so on and so forth. And we proudly claim that I am a devotee. You can't claim any Devi. You haven't tasted the happiness of the renunciation. These very great persons, they have, by their own example, taught us this very serious thing, by their own example, that as soon as he saw one grey hair, he immediately decided. And we saw in Bhagavatam that as soon as Kapil Dev was born, this Karda Muni left. And under different pretexts, we just carry on with the material activities, thinking that I am going to survive for innumerable years or maybe permanently. We don't know that Krishna may give us a lease, with extended lease. And that lease is only for remembering Krishna and no mucking about. This is a serious lesson we have to learn from the pages of Ramayana. Otherwise, thinking about Ram or just concocting these things, that thing, I'm a big devotee and I do this and I do that. I. You have to forget. When are we going to get rid of this I? We see any person, he will definitely sing his glories. I did this. I. Dasharatha immediately forgot this I. And he fixed the coronation next day in the morning, Ram to be the king. And it was Supreme Person's arrangement that was not going to happen. And he showed by his own example that Dukh or Sikh is all sum for the living, should be sum for us, equal, whether we are in misery or in happiness. It all should be equal to us. We should not be disturbed nor related. This should be the lesson learned from Ram's example. We read from the scriptures the same eternal teaching. But even then, we go back to so many lamentations and so many other things. Just to get the misery out, we try so much. But we don't have the idea that when we are born, according to the previous activities, certain amount of enjoyment and happiness is destined. We may try our best to achieve more happiness, but we cannot get more. Eventually, the destiny catches with you. And it's none of you can't do anything about it. You may try very hard, but eventually destiny catches you. Our karma has the reaction. And that reaction will catch you in this life, or the next, or the next, or the next. But it will definitely catch you. Yatha dhenu sahasreshu vasso gacchati mataram. Here, Vyas Bhagavan gives us the example of cows. There is a big cow protection center near Dwarka. It's a very big cow protection center, near 4,000 cows they maintain. And they have the cows, small, so many cows, milking cows are there. And as soon as they bring some calf, their calf, out of thousands of cows, he will definitely find out his mother. You know. Definitely he will go to his mother. So he says here, or Vyas Bhagwan, the yatha dhenu sahasreshu, as out of thousands of cows, vatso gacchati mataram. Vatsa means calf, goes to mataram, his mother. Tatha kartam yatsa karma kartaram, whatever you perform, kartaram adhigacchati, it will definitely catch you. And not only karma, but the root of the karma is the idea. First there was the idea in our mind that we have to come to Australia. It was a seed form. Idea was just very seed. One day Viraj rang and said, we are thinking that for Purushottam Mass you should come. I was not very well, so I told, I have a desire but I can't guarantee. This is a seed idea. And the karma happened. So if you want to get rid of the karmas, the Ramayana teaches us that you purify, Vishuddha matram, Vishuddha, Anubhava matra, ekam. As soon as you are Vishuddha, Yatta chitta Vishuddha, Anubhava matra, ekam. Vishuddha means completely purified consciousness. Purified, the meaning of purified consciousness, that you should never be contaminated by the three modes of material nature. Our consciousness generally is contaminated by the three modes of material nature, and most probably by the ignorance, mode of ignorance, tama. We are always in tama. You can't see the living entity. As soon as you see somebody, you will just turn the face and go away. I mean, what is happening? Why? Are we going to loot you? Are you going to take away something from you? Why can't you stand and smile? But smiling is impossible in this world. And as we are advanced, we pretend that we are very busy. And we are not busy at all. This pretending, this hypocrisy, how long we are going to continue? And that is called the advancement. I am very busy. And he is not busy, he is not busy at all. Please, why can't you smile with the living entity? The cow is not coming to you, the dog is not coming to you, a human being is coming to you. So why can't you just smile and welcome him or her? Just talk, ask how are you, that's it. And then you can go. But no, that is impossible. To smile is regarded as a primitive thing. It's not a modern thing. You know? You say, you are not so civilized, you are smiling. And then they don't smile, and their cheek muscle, they get stiff. They can't do anything there. Then they have to go to gymkhana. You know, gym, there are special gyms in America. One gym we went, and the exercise was going on. I told, what is this exercise? He said, this is cheek exercise. What happened to the cheeks? I told. He said, they're stiff. And then because they're stiff, so they go inside. Like this. Like a rotten banana, his face becomes. Banana is good, but rotten banana again goes inside. Please. And then thousands of dollars they pay for this cheek exercise. And so many living entities see them, they don't have that exercise here. Ours is automatic exercise. Our Krishna has a watermelon face. Very nice round face, you know. And our faces are like a rotten banana, you know. Just please. These are the teachings from Ramayana. That in any situation, we welcome the situation, we can't do anything about it. So better tolerate it. Samadukha sukham, you know. Somru tattvaya kalpate, amrut tattvaya kalpate. That is nectar. Is given in Bhagavad Gita, that those who are sama dukkha sukham, somru tattvaya kalpate. That is amrit tattva. So why can't we get the nectarian tattva? Why we are hesitating? Ram is always accompanying us. And as soon as Ram is there, our Ram is there. In any situation, I am steady. That's it. Dukkeshu anudigamnana, sukheshu vigata spruha, vitaraga bhaya krodha, manmaya mam upashrita. Just forget about you. Manmaya, you engage in my minding, thinking about me. And mam upashrita, you just take my shelter and you are happy. In any situation, please avoid this. And be blissful always. It's very difficult. But by cultivation we can do it, because our own constitution is non-different from Krishna's constitution. And Krishna's Vigraha is Sachidanand. Ram's Vigraha is Sachidanand. Always steady, always eternal, always full of knowledge, and always completely blissful. And we are also non-different because we are part and parcel of Krishna, part and parcel of Ram. And because we have the same constitution, we have eternity. Our soul is eternal. And that's why we always tell that this person has gone away. We never tell that he is dead. And we are also in the process of going away. Nobody can stop. This material infection has to be dropped one day. Sundar kaya mitti hogi, charcha hogi bhali buri. And those who are in the funeral, so they think that he is dead, but we are here for eternal time. We are not going to die. And then he says, that man was like this, that man was like this, etc. hogi bali buri. Jagat sagai hai do din ki, aakhir hogi chala chali. This is the reality. Jagat sagai hai do din ki. This is the reality. And we think that my sagai is eternal, your sagai may be temporary. But here there is no Maya or yours. It's everybody. This is the truth. And this Ram teaches us. He was to be king next day. And the events took turn completely to the opposite direction. And because of that, what was her name? Mantra. Envy personified. And Ravana was killed. His whole race was wiped off. But Mantra is not killed. Mantra is still here. And Mantra always devastates our life also. That we don't know. We are very happy to read Ramayana and very happy to read that Ram is killed and his whole race is wiped off. And Ramchandra Bhagwan ki jai. But we don't know that Mantra is not killed. Mantra is still here. And Mantra dances in our family also, in our society also. Mantra really rules. We are all envious of each other. We can't see good of any living entity. Can never tolerate. If he has $10,000, I must have 20. If he is a Fiat car, I must have Mercedes. Always we compete. Always we hate each other, frankly speaking. And that's why we don't smile. No smiling, because I hate. So I hate, then my cheeks become stiff, and then I have to go in the evening and pay their money and get the exercise. This is advancement. Please, Ram teaches us that get rid of mantra. Ram could not kill mantra. He could kill Ravana. Ravana means the living entity who forces other to cry. Ravana. That is the meaning of Ravana. He is the living, he will never see anybody smiling. As soon as you smile, he will create some trouble and he will enjoy your crying. That is Ravana. And we have plenty of it. That time there was only one Ravana. Now we have plenty of it, lakhs of Ravana. And every Ravana has got to be smashed. And without Ram we can't do it. As soon as you come to Ram, you become safe from the Ravanas. The Ravanas can't do anything. Because you are Ravana. Suppose you are engrossed in chanting or whatever. Then everybody thinks that he is God's man and leave him. They don't touch. We had a terrible trouble in Dwarka. We are occupying one property. And I don't know how we came there and somebody left. But he left and people were very much envious because there's a big property in our possession. So people were very envious. So now we didn't know how to counteract. Because we were new in the town and the town is very small town. So everybody knows everybody, So it was very difficult to face the local public. And they were, since years they are there, well settled. So what we decided that somehow we have to have the murtis and we installed Krishna and then they may keep quiet. So we did that. And since then nobody talks. They forget about it. It's mandir. It's not yet full-fledged mandir. But just murti we installed and everybody kept quiet. This is Ram. As soon as you give place in your life to Lord Ramchandra, all these Ravanas automatically vanish. You don't have to do anything. And mantra gets buried. Mantra doesn't appear in front of Ram. She could not do anything in front of Ram. Frankly speaking, Kaikeyi was very much loving Ram. When Mantra first broke the news to her that you know that Ram is going to be coronated tomorrow. So Kaikeyi immediately took off the gem necklace she had nice. And she gave that necklace to Mantra that you have given me good news. And then Mantra had her own way to act on Kaikeyi. And eventually Kaikeyi was victimized by the envious nature. And the whole thing changed. And the whole thing is to get rid of the people who force others to cry. That is the avatar. That is the avatar. And at the same time, to teach us a lesson. For Dasharatha's own vachanas, Ram left the kingdom. He said, it's all right. If my father is told, I'm ready to go. Let Bharat rule the king as a king. And immediately he decided, instead of coronation clothes, nice clothes like a king, he had to pull the valkal, and this, within a second, split second, it happened. And it was all the same. Samasukha dukeshu. So amrita tattvaya kalpate. In the renunciation, there is more happiness. He has shown us. And then he teaches us that in any case, the parents must be respected. Their vachanas must be respected. In Bhagavatam also, this point is insisted. As far as possible. So this thing is insisted by Lord Ram's appearance. And this is how he teaches us, by his own example, that he could renounce the whole kingdom for his father. But eventually all the events take the opposite turn. And it was a horrible story then, because he left the kingdom. That was altogether a different thing. And in Bhagavatam also it is very clearly said that putranam hi paro dharma. Putranam hi paro dharma is main religion. Putranam hi paro dharma pitru shushrunam satam. Parents must be served. Shushrunam. Api putravatam. Maybe the child may have his own children. He may be an aged child, maybe middle-aged. and he may have his sons and daughters and his family. Even then, in that case also, the putra must serve the parents. This is the instruction of Bhagavatam. And same thing is repeated. Kimuta brahmacharinam, those who are brahmacharis, they must serve. And this is the teachings of Lord Ram. And when it came to destroy the Ravana vritti tendency, Ravana naturally was very powerful. Shiva Bhakta, very mystic. He could fly himself in the sky. And not he alone, but his whole army will fly in the sky. Such a powerful man. And the whole Lanka, his whole kingdom was golden kingdom. We may have one ring, and we are very proud of. Our Shriya puts on so much gold, and she is very happy. But the Ravana had all buildings, golden Lanka, it was all. So much gold he had. And even then he was not satisfied. He wanted more. And he wanted this, and he wanted that, and he wanted that, and that, and that. And Anratam Madam Kamam, where there is gold, there is lusty desires are there, falsity is there, everything was there. All the five inebrities were in him. Anratam Madam Kamam Rajo Vairancha Panchakam. Falsity was there, mad, intoxication was there. 10 heads, we have only one head. He has 5 this side and 5 this side. And moving very big frame, 20 hands, oh God. He could crush anybody. And powerful again, Shiva Bhakta. She was very, Asutosh is known as. Immediately satisfied, that's when you came. So he had so many powers in him. He could fly in the sky. He could go from one point to the other point within no time. Heavenly planets, Sutal, down, up, anywhere he can move. Such a powerful man, but he was never satisfied with so much achievement. And then eventually what happened, that one day he heard that his brother Kuber has a very nice chariot. And that chariot, that was not ordinary chariot, but it was a whole city in the chariot. There were parks and buildings and everything. And it was full of amenities. So he thought that my brother Kuber doesn't require this much prosperity, Why should he have that chariot? He should give me that chariot. So immediately with the whole army, he flew to the heavenly planets. Kuber is the treasurer of the demigods. He is also equally rich, but not that cruel like this. So he went and said, brother, your chariot I want. You don't require that chariot. I am more powerful than you. I have 10 heads, you have only one head. So Kuber said, see, don't look at my chariot. You please control yourself. No, he said, if you don't give, then I'll fight with you. And in two brothers, there was a fight, big fight, for the chariot. And eventually Ravana won. So he got the chariot. And the beautiful chariot was that it didn't require the fuel, no petrol. By mind it was driven. Ravana used to sit on the chariot and he used to think that I want to go over the Himalayas and the chariot will take him to Himalaya. And Ravana was so very elated that now not only he is the great king and he is the richest person, but he owns now the beautiful and this chariot. So he sat on the chariot and he wanted to cruise over Himalayas, So he started from Assam to fly over Himalayas. So the whole Himalaya was full of ashramas, and these different yajnas were going on. So through the trees he will see the smoke, and he is not interested in ashrama. But one spot he came to, and it was a bit clear spot. So there were not that many trees there. And one lady in the white sari, she was meditating. And this rogue looked to the, correctly known as rogue, Rogue, and in our language, rogue means disease. This is hridrogam, it's a heart disease. So immediately spotted that lady is all alone and she is meditating. So he said, hey, wait, this is not ashram. This is some lady meditating. So he left all his ministers flying in the air, all the army flying in the air, and he came down. Don't come, you stay there. And lone meeting with the lady is a horrible thing. Except our wife, we should not lonely meet anywhere. And wife also, in the Vedic culture, is known as Dharma Patni. It's not Kama Patni. Please remember this. Otherwise, the couples cannot survive. So this one came down on the Himalayas. As soon as he came down, the first question he asked, are you married? She said, yes, I'm married. What is your name? He said, I'm Vedvati. And to whom you are married? To Vishnu. He said. Vishnu, he completely laughed. He said, pauper, he has nothing. I have a beautiful chariot. He's standing there, see? It's all city. You just marry me, I'll take you all over. She said, you control yourself, I'm a married lady. I'm meditating on Vishnu. Don't disturb me. But this couldn't control his lust. So he advanced towards her and caught hold of her hair. She was also mystic. So she turned her hand into a knife and cut her hair. And this one fell down on the ground. Nothing, it's all right, I'm nothing wrong, And again got up. And she said, now because you have touched my body, so my body is not now worth for meditation. I'll burn my body now. And through her mystic power, she burnt her. And before she burnt her, she cursed him that in the next life, I will come back and I will be the cause of your death. The fellow thought that, she's down, gone, dead, get up. What is she going to do? Who knows next birth where she is born and where he didn't believe at all. Then the fellow again couldn't control himself. He was very intoxicated with the chariot. Just a bit of prosperity, staying in Australia and working and collecting some dollars, gives us so much intoxication. I told you yesterday, there you go down at Bombay and everybody is running and screaming and fighting with each other and you think, hey, don't talk, I'm coming from Australia. I mean, who asks you where you're coming from? But we think that I'm very advanced. These are all animals. This is mud. Even just to stay in this planet on this part of the earth gives us so much mud. I'm from America, and big suitcase. America, those who come from America, their suitcase is like a grastashram. Oh, so big suitcase. What happened? I'm coming from America. With the suitcase tell that you are American. This suitcase, and we are intoxicated. 5 suitcases, man. And man is 3 feet. And a big train of suitcases. And he walks very straight. I'm American straight, his hand, This mud. This mud did not stop. By one kick, he couldn't understand. Then he again ordered the plane to go further. Further he went and he saw beautiful hill, with the snow and everything. So he thought, this is a nice place, who is it here? So he came down there, and there was Nandi, our Shiva Bhagwan's Nandi was standing there. So, whose place is it? He said, please, control yourself. This whole area belongs to Shiva Bhagwan, and nobody is allowed here. This whole hill is Kailas hill, and you can't really touch to this hill. Your plane will stop. So he was not ready. He ordered the plane to go, and the plane stopped near the Kailas hill. As soon as the plane stopped, he again screaming came down. He said, rascal, who is Shiva? He didn't have any idea. He said, Shiva is very powerful, he is Bhagwan. You please don't disturb me, you lament. You rascal, get off of my way. I can just pick up this hill. It was very strong, and 20 hands, He pushed 20 hands under the Kailas hill. And as soon as he pushed 20 hands under the Kailas hill, the hill started moving, And Shiva and Parvati were sitting on the top of the hill. So Parvati was really disturbed. She thought that the earthquake is going on. She asked, Bhagwan, what is happening? He said, don't worry, this rascal is moving the hill. Within a moment I'll control it. So she again cursed him, that because she disturbed me, the woman, so next life he will die because of the woman. Again the second curse he had. Then Shiva forced the hill, just he pressed the hill by his toe, and the hill was very heavy. So his 20 hands were under the hill, and they were completely crushed. Ravana starts screaming like, and Ravana's scream means 3 words could be here. And for so many days, he was struggling to take out the hands. Couldn't take out. And 100 years passed like this, screaming. The ministers came down and said, Mahārāja, what happened to you? He said, this rascal, somebody is bad, this stone very heavy. And again, screaming. So one minister suggested him that Shiva's prayer, from Puranas, you please recite the prayer. For 100 years this rascal recited the prayers, hands were inside. And it was very, as I told you, the miseries, we pray very intensely. So this is how he was in the miserable condition. And he loudly chanted Shiva's prayers. And because Shiva is Asutoshan, immediately he was satisfied and he released his hands. And then he was taken as a Shiva Bhakta, eventually. But he had got the second curse also. And again, because of the intoxication, he was defeated by the Celestials. But he didn't care for that. This is how Ravana was extremely powerful. Nobody could kill him. He got all the benedictions from Shiva that he should not be killed. But he did not get one benediction that any man should not kill me. He thought man cannot kill me at all. He's a mosquito, I can just squeeze like this. And he forgot to get this benediction. And that's why Rama had to come as a man in the human form to finish off this. And with this everything, Ram also being Supreme Person himself, he shows that how he has to struggle in the material world because of the different modes. And mantra particularly is the personified of tama, mode of ignorance. And mode of ignorance immediately forces us to be envious and angry. That is definite. And as soon as we are envious, we are angry also. She was dancing in front of Kaikeyi, and she was cursing Kaikeyi that you don't understand your own interest. And eventually the whole incident took place. And Ram had to quit, and he very nicely showed us that for him to be a king or to be all the same. We living entities also, we may not have that fluctuation in our life, but we never know. I remember the days when India was divided, Formerly India is all one. This Bangladesh and Pakistan, that was all included. Except Burma, nothing was separate. And there was a time when Burma was also with India. But I didn't see that time. But I saw that time when Burma was separate. And the whole India was one. And it was 1947. And then it was suddenly divided. And we were celebrating the Independence Day. And all the Hindus, they were forced to leave Pakistan area from Bangladesh as well as from Punjab and Sindh and everywhere. And it was full of Indians, full of Hindus I must say. And it was so pitiable condition that with one cloth they came from there. Within no time, if Krishna is not kind to us, our circumstances can change. Every day we have to thank Him that He is allowing us to stay in Australia. He is giving us bread and butter here. Otherwise, within no time, within fraction of a second, He can change the situation. We may be very rich at the moment. Within no time we can be pauper. So that's why the life, human life, should be so conducted that in every circumstance, we should be able to pass our life. We should not unnecessarily increase our artificial necessities. If you increase your artificial necessities, you will not be able to survive in the everything changes here. Nothing remains static. And our hankering is that we want everything static. That we can't do. Everything changes, including our body. And this, for the body, for the body's sake, we do all these things. And the body itself changes. And then what remains? Nothing remains really. You may have millions of dollars or nice country or what nice houses or whatever. But if the body changes, what can you do? You can't enjoy those riches. The best way is to come to our senses in the human form of life and get attached to Lord Ram. He is the Savior, Mam Uddara, Best shloka we learned when I remember that we were in some in lower standards, from primary school to high school we were going. And there was a question of selecting the second language. So there was so many list was there, and I remember I looked Sanskrit, and I didn't understand Bhagavad Gita. We were reciting Bhagavad Gita at home. So I thought that let me try Sanskrit. And we went in the first class. Those gurus were really gurus. Highly they were paid 50 rupees. Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijete Ramam Ramesham Bhaje Ramena Bhiyata Nishacharjamu Ramaya Tasmain Maha Raman Nasti Parayanam Paratanam Ramasya Dasosmyam Rame Chittalaya Sada Bhavatume Bho Rama Mamuddar. Ram can only liberate us from all these things. And since then, I remember this verse clearly. It's maybe 50, more than 60 years. This is teaching. At the moment we don't have education at all. Prabhupada says that all the children must be taught one verse, this verse. And it's a beautiful verse is there. That this teaching must be given to all the children. That's why we may, if resources give us, we should always utilize our resources in trying to have some nice education institution or the cow protection program. These are two programs worth in this age. There is no teaching at all, there is no teaching in this. Correct education is completely absent. If somebody is trying somewhere, please donate generously for the teaching institution, wherein Vedic culture is taught. This one verse in Paradareshu Matruvat Paradareshu. This must be taught to the children. Then matruvat paradhareshu. All women, they, according to our age, they are either mothers, sisters or daughters. That is, should be the relationship. And then, paradharveshu loshtravat. This is second thing to be taught. That anybody's thing is complete scratch for us. Somebody may have millions of pounds or rupees or whatever. For us, it's nothing. We should not touch anybody's wealth. That is second thing. And third thing is more important. Atmavat sarva bhuteshu. All the living entities should be regarded as our own self. Whatever troubles us, we should never do to those things. I think this sort of sentence is in Bible also. Do unto others what? Something, you know Bible maybe. What is that sentence?
Love thy neighbor as thyself.
No, not love thy, but do unto others what? Huh? Same as do unto you, something like that. That whatever you don't like, please you don't inflict that misery upon others. These three things have to be taught. Prabhupada says, don't teach anything else. Just tell them to put these things into practice, and that's enough. And then he says that you may have a patch of land, and you farm and the living will go on. Education, if there is education, well and good. No education, materialization, well and good. And teach them to completely attach to Krishna. This is the basic education we should impart. And all these things we are learning from the Supreme Person by their own example. Krishna himself need not have any education. He went to Gurukul. When he was in Mathura, he went to Gurukul and he did all the seva of his Sandipani Guru. There was no need. Once he heard from Guru all the Vedas, he learned immediately. There was no need of him going there. But they teach us by their own example. If we can imbibe some of the eternal teachings of this from the Supreme Person, our life becomes successful. Already we are situated in a nice atmosphere. And these things really will carry us through. And this way, then eventually, Lord Ram, with all the difficulties, went up to Panchavati. That place is still at Nasik. Now, if you happen to go to India, now Nasik is a developed city. The whole Tapon area is also very developed. But even now there is temple of Surupanakha, Lakshman cuts the nose, He is there, and Lord Ram stayed there. There's so many. Godavari river is there, nice. So still that place is there. He stayed there, he went to Panchavati and stayed there for a long time. And therein, this Mruga incident happened, that he had to run after that deer. Sita liked it very much. And he went to catch the deer for her. Somehow there it was his arrangement that this incident had to take place. Because his main appearance, main thing was to destroy Ravana. So there must be some reason. And this whole thing happened. And in the absence, Lakshmana was keeping an eye on Sitaji. Sitaji was there. That Sita Gufa they call the cave of Sita. There is also there. It is artificially made for earning money, but the place is there. And people, thousands of people come in this month particularly, Purushottam Maas. Nasik is regarded a very nice pilgrim center. Godavari river is there, and Ram Kund is there still. When Ram used to visit, they used to take Shnan. That Kund is also there. All these places have, and there is a Ram temple in Nasik. They call it Kala Ram temple. It's carved out of one stone. Such a big temple. Nearly, I think it should be quarter of kilometer in size. And the whole Sankirtan hall and temple and whole thing is out of one stone. And few stones are joined Cement was not there. They used chuna at the time. You should know that material is a white material. And you can't see. The stones are so very near. And since last, I don't know, maybe 1,000 years or 2,000 years, that temple might be standing there. Our temples are monuments. In Australia also, the weather is not that bad. Here, you are rich people, some very nice monument we must have. Where our children are going to go? The children don't have any place to go. Young children and the youngest children, they don't have any place to go. Sometime these events are organized. Otherwise there is nothing to teach our own Vedic culture, which is the root of all the culture. We don't have any place here. Please try yourself to have some nice constructed temple for our future generation to go. Otherwise our own children will have a very bad life in these countries. They will not have anywhere to go. And if there is nothing there, then how can this culture be passed on? Make best of your own existence and try to strive in this direction instead of just madly getting victimized by the Kali Yuga forces. That is non-vegetarian food and drinks and this and that and that and that. Please, all these houses, I don't know here, but in all the advanced countries, every house has a bar in the house. So they must be drinking at home. It's too much intoxication. And they don't sleep. Nightlife goes on up to 3, 4 o'clock. And then they sleep during the day. The anti-Vedic culture. And this is destruction. And when we see our own people victimized by this, it's a really very painful sight. It's only because of the mercy of the saints and sages like Prabhupada, who traveled to the West and wrote so much literature to guide us. Otherwise we would have been completely lost. And in this way, they sang the glories of the Supreme. So Sita ji was completely disturbed. And she forced Lakshman to go. So before going, he drew the line, and that line is known as Lakshman Rekha. Even though that line is drawn there, I don't know whether it was the correct place or not. But it is there still. And he instructed Sita ji that you please do anything and everything, don't cross this line. Nobody will try to touch you if you remain inside the line. And eventually Ravana lured her in the form of Brahmana, approached Sita ji for begging, and she came with something to give. Brahmana should not go without offering something, so she came out, and he lured her to come out of the line, and this way he kidnapped. Then Jatayu was the first one to see this thing. So Jatayu was just flying over him. So Ravana was also going away with Sita. So he just cut Jatayu's wings, and this is Jatayu was helpless. But he kept his life holding till Ram came and he informed him, and then he was dead. Then eventually Ram went to the southern India, and near Rameshwaram, he was just trying to maneuver monkeys to come. He was taking monkeys to fight. Without monkeys or without anything also, he could have crushed Ravana. But because he was in human form, he was very careful to behave as a human form, human body. And eventually he wanted to cross over. So he ordered Hanuman. He was thinking that tomorrow the bridge must be ready. So who has the capacity to build within the night? So he called Hanuman. He said, come here. He said, Maharaj, what can I do? He said, Bhagavan, he said, tomorrow the bridge must be ready. Hanuman knew that when Ram orders to do something, he gives us the capacity also. So within no time the bridge was getting ready. Big stones he used to bring, and big mountains, and he used to write Ram on it and throw into the water. and those heavy stones were floating in the water. So Lord Ramchandra was standing by the side. He says, he wonderfully writes my name, and the stones are floating. So he thought that I'll try. So he took big stone and he threw inside. It went down. Oh, he said, something is wrong. Again he took another stone and he threw again into the ocean. Again it went down. He said, what is happening? So Hanuman was watching. He said, what, Bhagwan, what are you doing? Because he was not successful. So he couldn't tell anything. So he said, I know, Bhagwan, what are you doing? He said, you should know that this stone, I bring stones, and I write your name. So a stone has your association. Name is not different from Lord Ram. So stone has your association. That's why the heavy stone also can float. When you throw, when you reject, then what is the chance of that stone to survive? So it has got to go down. The practical lesson is, do anything and everything, but perform your karma in this way, that Lord Ram should not reject you. As soon as he rejects, there is no way we can be happy. We have to go to the hellish planets and suffer there eternally, I don't know. So this is how the ideas and the karmas, they go hand in hand. So the first, completely mind should be purified, and then Suddhiyopalambanam. Suddhiyo, our intelligence, also should be thoroughly purified. And it can only be purified by the touch of Lord Ram's name. Otherwise it's impossible to be. As soon as you stop taking association from Lord Ram, you are going to lose. You will be always contaminated in your consciousness also by the three modes of material nature. So Ram comes, as soon as you remember Ram, it's immediately clear. And that's why some or the other, our traditions are that in our house also, we have so many pictures, beautiful pictures of Lord Ram, Krishna, etc. So that always we see the pictures, unknowingly we are getting purified. And Prabhupada has given us the king process, that you please get up early in the morning. According to your work, you should decide yourself. But ideally Brahma Muhurta starts from 4:30. So we should be ready before 4:30 to perform some bhajan kirtan. And this is very easy once you get used to it. Then because you want to get early in the morning, get up. So you will take rest early at night. Otherwise we linger on. And when we do these things, we can never progress spiritually. We may try to show that we are progressing. But as soon as Mangalarti is not there, we are contaminated. And this is the protective cover, always. It will protect you throughout the day. Prabhupada very nicely says that give me, out of 24 hours, you give me 2 hours, and those 2 hours sadhana will protect you whole day. And it's very correct. Please, ideally is that all the time we should be engaged in devotional service. And we should have compassionate nature. That is what Lord is. And we are part and parcel of Krishna and Ram. So we should be compassionate. We are forcing ourselves to be cruel. That is our position. We cannot be cruel. We are full of compassion. And have the compassion for all the living entities, particularly in the later stage, please. In Vanapastha stage, you should have burning desire for relieving the miseries of the living entities. As it is, slowly you become useless for any material activities. Even if you wish, you can't do it. So instead of wasting time in these temporary material activities, what we can do, we may earn something. We may amass some wealth. More than that we can't do. So it's better few years at least from our life we should reserve for this compassionate nature. And that is what preaching means. That you please get into the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata, learn about the Supreme Absolute Truth, Krishna or Lord Rama or anybody, and just try to execute, please. And this is how everybody should be engaged. We call it Namat programs, that anybody can come together. That was the way we were behaving. That men folk will go out to work and the ladies come together and perform kirtan. And because of this kirtan and bhakti, the men will be successful in their work. And all the time, the main business was farming. So in farming, we have to depend upon Krishna's mercy, rainfall, or the water in the land. We may have wells or bores or whatever. So we are always dependent upon them. And we are always with the animals. There are cows and bulls and this and that. And that was, till that time, till our economy was based on cows and bullocks. The world fluctuation market did not have any effect on Indian economy. And even now it is the position. To some extent, even now, our country is depending upon cows. But day by day it is decreasing. And to that extent, we are vulnerable in the economy. And before 50 years, world was fluctuating always. But we did not have any effect. In Cuba they tried this. Because Cuba had to depend for the petrol on America all the time. And Cuban is the communist country. So they decided that we have to make our life simple. So they started using bullock carts and bullock power. And now they are completely self-sufficient. They don't have to depend upon America. We have to depend so much on, for our son in India, I don't know, here also you have to depend. This country doesn't have that much oil. So you have to depend upon the countries which have oil. So they dictate their terms on us. If we are simple, if we are ready for the simple life, so much grass grows here. We mow the grass and we have to throw away that grass. Then New Zealand is so very green country that whole world's cows could be maintained. Cow protection program should be in New Zealand. Millions of cows, they can survive there. And nice milk, butter, ghee is available, which is very nice for our health and upkeep, full food. Where is the machine which will take the grass and bring out the milk? We don't have any other machine. This is the basic of the economy. And this, what all our scripture and Krishna himself teaches about this thing, that our economy must be, even now in Dwarka, they don't call cow how many cows you have. They say how much dhan you have. In Dwarka they don't ask you how many cows you have. How much dhan you have. It is regarded as dhan. And Dwarka is completely dry area. But even then now, there are quite a few cows. And in the advanced cities, cows are completely banned. In Calcutta, inside the city, you cannot keep the cows. And the result is mosquitoes and other germs are increased. And then we have to manufacture DDT powder to kill the germs. Again the factory. And cow dung, if it is there, then it's antiseptic. And that's why I remember that we didn't have the marble floor at all. Our mothers and sisters, they were just spreading the dung on the floor. And it was so very neat and clean, very fresh. Every third day or fourth day, they will do it. And by hand, no gloves, nothing at all. They were showing many times we saw their hand with the scratches. And this is how our life was very simple. And that's why much money was not required. Never they dreamt to come to the foreign countries. It's only when artificial necessity increased, we forgot Lord Ram and we completely forgot Ram and Krishna. And because we forgot, now all the miseries we have to face. And all these so-called advanced countries, they may have some machinery to counteract these miseries. But we don't have any machinery to counteract. In India, it's a horrible misery that we have industrialization and we don't have anything to counteract it. We don't have any social welfare type office. And if that office is, few persons may be benefited, but general mass is suffering because not coming to Lord Ram and not understanding Lord Ram. We should, to the best of our ability, propagate these things and somehow or the other come to this conclusion that in my life, whatever I am, I will propagate these things. And myself I will understand and I will try to propagate these things. Please, there are so many things to be told to you about Lord Ram or Lord Krishna. But we are controlled by the time. I have to stop here. But before we stop, somebody is there. Yesterday, I saw some person who was singing very nice Sri Rama Kurpalu Bhajan. That bhajan, is he here? No, he was accompanying you. That accountant, is he here? No, he is not here. I will sing then. Sri Ramachandra Kupalu Bhajamana. Yes, who is singing? Come. Come here. Come to the mic. You remember? Sri Ramachandra Kupalu Bhajamana Harana Bhava Bhaya Haranam Navakanjana Lochan Jamukha Karakanja Kanjaranam Sri Ramachandra Palu Bhajamana Bhava Bhaya Darunam Kanjalocana Kanjamukha Karakanja Padakan Haranam Kandarpa Aganita Amita Chabi Navanila Rada Sundaram Patapita Manav Tadita Chuchi Navbhijanaka Sutavaram Sri Ramachandra Palu Bhajamana Vedaranam Navakanjana Lochan Kanjamukha Kanjapada Kanjaranam Kandarpa Ganita Rabi Nila Nirada Sundaram Patapita Manav Tarita Ruchi Ruchi Abhijanaka Sudavanam Bhajudina Bandhu Dinesha Dandava Daityavansha Kandanam Raghunanda Nanda Kanda Koshala Kanda Hiramukuta Kundala Tilaka Charu Udara Vibhuchanam Ajanu Bhuja Rachapadara Gramajita Bhushanam Shiramukuta Kundala Taka Bhushanam Ajanu Bhujashara Apadara Gramajita Kara Iti Vadati Sant Asa Sheshamuniman Janam Vada Kanjani Sako Madekhala Dalad. Jai Sri Ram Bhagwan ki. One shloka I should recite loudly. And that is beautiful. They are asking Lord Ram that please do this. Nanyam Spruha Nanya Spruha रघुपते हृदये अस्मदीये न अन्य स्पृहा. I don't have any other desire, he said. न अन्य स्पृहा रघुपते हृदये अस्मदीये. मेरे में कोई इच्छा नहीं है, बोला है वो. न अन्य स्पृहा रघुपते हृदये अस्मदीये. सत्यं वदामि च भवान् अखिलान्तरात्मा. सत्यं वदामि च भवान् अखिलान्तरात्मा. I am speaking the truth, he said. Nanya spruha ragupate hridaye asmadiye satyam vadami cha bhavan akhilantaratma bhaktim prayacha रघुपुंगव निर्भराम में भक्तिम प्रयच्छ रघुपुंगव निर्भराम में कामादिदोष रहितम कुरुमानसं च. Very easy prayer. That I don't have any desire in my heart. Satyam vadami, I am speaking truth, nothing but this truth. And this is not our court, like in court we say, and you speak lies. No, Bhakta is very clear in front of Lord Ram. That means I am speaking the truth. Please give me bhaktim prayacha. Just please give me unflinching devotional service. Ergo Pungava, you are the most important person in Raghuvansh. So I don't want anything else. Nirbharam me, you please give me abundant devotional service. And do one thing, that Kamadi dosha rahitam, please make my heart completely clear from all these lusty desires. It's very difficult to think about this. Because of greed, always we try to amass these unnecessary things around in our house or everywhere else. Our houses must have the minimum paraphernalia. I stay with our solicitor, this coming from Singapore. Since 9 years, I am staying in his flat whenever I go to Singapore. He has the same things before 9 years, but very bad. Nothing is added. I told, where is money you are going? Very stingy, I told, you don't buy anything. I don't require anything. They said, please keep your house completely clean. If you really search out your house, half the house is worth throwing. If you don't clean your house, how can you clean your mind or heart? And this kama, kamadi dosha ritam, kuruma sanmanasam. Please Ram, you do this. And we saw yesterday that when Kumbhakarna was asked the advice by Lord Ravana, that how to marry Sita, So he said that you are a mistake. You take Lord Ram's form and Sita will marry you. So he said, I tried that. But when I think, because I have to think about it, I take the form. So when I think about Lord Ram and try to take his form, Sita appears to me as my mother. This is really supreme, absolute truth, Krishna. We sing so many glories and pastimes of Lord Ram and particularly Lord Krishna. We should never dwell with the confidential pastimes of Lord Krishna in any time in our brain also, in our mind also. We are not fit for it. We haven't understood Krishna so far. Please, there are misleading factors. In order to have the cheap popularity, somebody may discuss these pastimes in public. We should avoid it for our own good. There are so many pastimes which we just have to experience. Yachat chitta vishuddha anubhava matram ekam. This anubhava is the main word in this shloka. That Supreme Personality who has the Satchitananda Vigraha, he could be experienced and he could be perceived by the unflinching devotional service. By doing Radha, 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 we cannot recognize Radha. Radha word comes from Aradhana. Unflinching Aradhana is there, then you can experience the Radha Bhava. It's not to be given by somebody. Please save yourself from these misleading factors. Never enter into these things. And as soon as you save yourself, then you will intensify your devotional service. And as soon as the devotional service is intensified, why Radha is dear to Krishna? Because she serves. Service attitude is there. And because of that she is dear. It's not for anything else. Because Lord Krishna has a spiritual body, and that we completely forget. But when immaturely we hear these unnecessary confidential pastimes, then we always compare ourselves, our life with Krishna's life. And we think that Krishna is like us. And so many elaborations creep into our mind. Please don't entertain. Instead, you study Bhagavatam written by Prabhupada, you study any literature, and try to control yourself, to not to go into detail about these things, but try to intensify your japa, try to intensify your swadhyaya, and automatically you will have the glimpse, you will perceive, you will have experience of it. It's not to be taught, but it is up to us how to approach Srimad Bhagavatam, how to approach Sri Ramayana, how to approach Mahabharata, and everything becomes clear to us. Tesham satadhyuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam dadami buddhi yogam tam ena mam upayanti te. This is one of the seed verses in Bhagavad Gita. He is very clear, Krishna is very clear, that Tesham, those people who are satata yukta, who are always trying to come to me, satata yuktanam bhajatam priti purvakam, and priti purvak, with all submissive attitude and loving and devotional service, those who try to attain me, dadami buddhi yogam tam, I give them the unflinching devotional service. And correct intelligence, completely purified consciousness. And as soon as you have the purified consciousness, unknowingly you will enter into the pastimes of Krishna. And this is what was done. All the saints and sages who have given us the lessons about these things. Please try these things, and I wish you all the best on your spiritual life. Hare Krishna. Jai. Sri Ramchandra Bhagwan ki.
Jai Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Mahārāja Srila Gurudeva ki Jai. Sri Sitaram Lakshman Bhakt Hanuman ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Okay. Wonderful, wasn't it? It was absolute nectar. Huh? So many realizations, so many instructions. Yes. Reminded of Guru Maharaj there. Very much alive in our lives. Yes, you're very fortunate with the devotees who have recorded it, who organized it, first thing in Sydney, and then the devotees who recorded it with them, and then they are now put it in digital format and we are showing it, This will be in our YouTube channel, which we can review. So all glories to all of them. Thank you very much to them. And also from our side, the hard work put in by Krishna Babu for editing, putting up the slides, and also the verses which Mahārāja first sang, from different stotras, and also from Lord Ram's Stuti. Very powerful. And even Ramo Rajamani Sada Vijayate, Mahārāja had learnt it so many years ago in his school, from the primary school. Even Mahārāja was 6 years old. This when Mahārāja first heard that. I remember Mahārāja saying that in one of the class. Yes, so wonderful. Okay, so would you like to share your what things, one point or 2 points, if you have any, which was inspired you in today's class? Hare to share, yeah.
Hare Krishna Babuji. Thank you, Amish Prabhu, showing very nectarian class of Mahārāja. It's always full of different points. There's like so many points to realize. And thank you very much, Krishna Prabhu, for getting it together. And it's such a beautiful thing to watch and taking a lot of points. So I just want to share a couple of points. One, when Mahārāja was narrating the story, like when they're building bridge, and Lord Hanuman writing the Lord Ram's name on stones and throwing it, and Lord Ram tried it and it wasn't working. So, and Mahārāja said that we should be, because when Lord throw something, then you won't survive. So Mahārāja said that perform your karma in such a way that Lord Ram won't reject you, So, and it's like, and later on Mahārāja said that we increased our artificial needs so much that we forgot Lord Ram and Krishna. and we're running here and there. So it's very it's very good point to realize. And another one is that in the end, Mahārāja said that about the cows, the economy, cows, the economy were based on cows previously in India, but now because of the industrialization and everything is moving away from it. And that's why if something happens in America, and it's felt everywhere in India also. So because the economy is in such a way. So Mahārāja is very practical, like, he gives very practical examples, and he showed his practical example also, like he's established the temples in Dwarka. Mahārāja talked about the Dwarka temple. And when Krishna is there and installed the deities, then nobody is disturbing, So yes, Prabhuji, so many points we can take. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Hare Bol. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Yes, Dwarka temple is a very unique case, and so many litigations were going on and still going on. Probably now also going on. And the moment deities were established, one servant there, one devotee there, many years, Guru Maharaj's personal servant, he was recollecting this conversation. And he was telling me this so many years ago. He said that, of course, Dwarkadish main deities are there. That's very transcendental in Dwarkadish temple in Dwarka, But this person, he was also guru of some kind, some sampradaya. So he would come and sit in our Dwarkadish temple. It's a small temple, but of stone. No? There are no iron, no cement there. So that the temple can remain for 1,000 years, Maharaj said. So that is what I want to do, Maharaj said. So he would come and sit in our deities in our Shri Rukmini Dwarkadish temple and meditate, he was chant. He said there's something about this deities. And you can see that when Maharaj's love overflowing, and how the deities so tejasvi. Very, I can just experience it. The Maharaj would say, when Maharaj would see some deities, he said, the deities are not taken care of well. The tej is not there. Maharaj told me once, I didn't understand a word in one of the temples, But I can tell you this. I went to one of the temples of Maharaj. I used to go there all the time, in Rajkot. And one fine day, I just gave up wearing my glasses. I bought the deities with Maharaj and gave up. It was, I don't know when it was, 2007 or something, probably. And since then, I'm not wearing glasses. Maharaj said, you come take the darshan of the deities, Mangalarati, chant, Hare, read Bhagavatam, no need for it. Just me, I just follow it. And I did my eye testing even now. This person was so surprised, the eye tester. He said, at your age, you don't have glasses, man. I said, don't worry about it. You tell me everything is okay. I said, yes. I said, go, good night. So this is how Maharaj would practically say. I remember one point which Maharaj said at the time, practical point, that Maharaj said, I'm using Maharaj's words, okay? Maharaj said, I don't know how, but there is a fine connection between reading this Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam daily and regularly, and our daily life, our senses. Maharaj said, see, at my age, Maharaj at the time, I think about 87, 84, 85, Maharaj said, my eyesight is very powerful, Maharaj would say, and which is true. I've seen it. Maharaj said, my ears are so powerful, but it's also very true. In a whole full room full of people, Maharaj can pick up somebody who's not speaking properly. Verses are not being spoken very well. Because Maharaj will recite the verses and make everybody recite the verse. If somebody is reciting wrong, he said, no, you are speaking not sir, it is sure. That's how he would say. And Maharaj said, my head is not moving. With old people, I don't have this. This is a transcendental, Maharaj says. We are transcendentally proud about this. But there's a subtle connection between the two. I remember it very well. So even for our own health, we must study Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam daily. Hare Krishna. He just reminded me of that, Sandeep. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yes, if others wants to say something, please feel free.
Hare Krishna. Yes, it was a very nice two-part lecture. This was a two-part lecture that we combined into one. So it was a very nice lecture by Srila Gurudeva as always, and a lot of points to ponder upon. The one point that I wanted to share was actually mentioned as well by Sanjeev Prabhu, where Maharaj said that we shouldn't be increasing the artificial necessities in our life. And I was just, I realized that actually Maharaj is the absolute prime example of someone who never increased their any necessity. So in the way Maharaj was conducting operations in Rajkot, in Dwarka, in the sannyas order of life, instructing disciples, preaching, nothing was done in a way to increase anything, increase any amenities or anything. Maharaj was always very detached, never asking for donations. Everything was dependent on Lord Krishna, reading Srimad Bhagavatam daily, and with no expectation. And we can see the power and the results of that, which is a testament to that, their understanding of Maharaj. So, and I in current times, I was thinking as well that, with all the issues about artificial intelligence and everything, and you know, a lot of things are very readily available for everyone, and then, you know, the whole thing about commodity and etc. They, you know, we may come to a point where we need to give everything up and sort of reset. And Maharaj was saying that in Cuba as well, they tried that because we got to that point. So maybe, you know, who knows, in the future, whoever it is that's in charge of things may decide that we want to go back to the way things were. But that's in a more material sense. But we understand in a spiritual sense that to be detached, you know, is the most important thing. So we leave everything behind. And I think Srila Gurudeva mentioned quite a few times about this, the concept of not increasing artificial necessities. So that was a point that I picked up upon, which I thought was important. But yeah, very, very nice class by Maharaj as always. Hare Krishna.
Yes, Hare Krishna. This also reminds me about this not increase artificial necessity of life. Maharaj would say that the more foam you have in your home, you know, foam, like big sofa, like I'm sitting on a big sofa here. Amrish is very rich, you know. Look at this, a nice sofa, first class, you know. So, so Maharaj would say, well, if you have more foam in the house, you know, there's more disease in the house. And true. In Nashik, where Maharaj would stay, you know, it was a private house of the family. There was nothing there. Believe when Maharaj would stay there was nothing, not even a chair. There was one bed for Maharaj, and then also Maharaj would sleep on the floor, no problem. And so that's when we went around, you know, with Maharaj's brother, and Maharaj was from Nashik, you know, and the brother is in Nashik too, younger brother, Dwarka Das Prabhu, very nice, transcendental, Mathura Das Prabhu, so excuse me, transcendental. So we went with him and we bought all this. Maharaj had to buy things, you know, very quietly we bought it. We didn't tell Maharaj, you know. So we bought some chairs, very simple plastic chairs, 4, 5, 6 chairs, some mats on the floor for people to sit, you know, when devotees would come. I think one table we got something like that, you know. Then Maharaj got to know later on, Amrish, what is this? You know, you're buying this, all this thing. So Maharaj was appreciative, but we kept it very simple also. And it was a little technical, you know. Maharaj would keep it simple. At the same time, Maharaj would also want you not to be miser. That is difference, being miserly and being austere. You see? So if you live a very flamboyant lifestyle, you're finished, you know. And nowadays, gurus, they like flamboyant lifestyle, you know, of the disciples. All glories to them. Well, we have been trained in a different way, you know. So yes, even if you have got a lot of Lakshmi, a lot of wealth, better to have simplistic lifestyle, Krishna-centered lifestyle. And Maharaj would say for himself also, I remember, I must say this point. Maharaj said that in our home, this Maharaj's home, there would be, Maharaj's father were businessmen, you know. So when Maharaj was a small child, there were many family members staying together, you know, brothers and uncle and all that, you know, unmarried uncle and all that. So Maharaj would say that in the night, we would open the beds, you know, and the whole room is filled up with the beds. People will sleep in the bed nicely. And in the morning, beds are rolled up and the whole room is clean. That's our living room. That's how it should be. Maharaj said, this is how it should be. And that is the reason why we are what we are. And I've seen it at an advanced age. Maharaj were very strong. Not take medicines. Don't talk about medicines to Maharaj. You're finished. You say, Maharaj, I've got a headache, stomachache, this ache, and I'm taking medicine. You're finished. I said, don't take medicines. No, we're not saying that. All I'm saying is that we have to be careful. But Hare Krishna, simplistic to the extreme, Maharaj. Very fortunate. We are very fortunate to see that saint, you know, have the saint in our lives. Even in the media of of online, it's very important to be in the association of Guru Maharaj, Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj. Very fortunate in the grace. And I can tell you this, if you follow the instructions sincerely, Srila Prabhupada's teachings as per the mood of Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj, you'll feel the blessings of Maharaj, in your life. I can tell you with all my certainty, with all humility. Yes. Who would like to go next? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for your nice realizations as usual. So yes, Srila Gurudev's lectures are always so wonderful, and there's every sentence and every word has that beauty and instruction. And the best thing I always felt was the very first time when I heard Mahārāja personally. Srila Gurudeva was told a story, and that stayed with me. And I was laughing the whole class. This was Srimad Bhāgavatam class in the morning, and I was laughing the whole time. And I felt that this is so lively, like not a moment where I was distracted by something else, or I did not want to get up from there. I did not want the class to end. That was a feeling I had. And I thought, this is so wonderful. I mean, because such an elderly person, and the way the class was narrated, it goes in your heart. And the instructions are given so lovingly. And the punch is there, but it's done in a very, in a laughing manner. And you get the message, that's the most important thing of any lecture, right? You have to get the message. And that is so well received, I just feel it's just amazing. I mean, I can relate to, and Srila Gurudeva was a teacher. So, there are certain teachers in your lives that you will not forget, that you'll always remember because they have inspired you, motivated you, or whatever it is. This one thing that always stays with me, even listening to Srila Gurudeva's lectures online or reading the lectures, you want more, more. Like, what next? What's going to come? Like, sometimes it comes in parts. What's the next thing going to happen? I just feel that we are so fortunate. As my Prabhuji said, we're so fortunate to have come into contact with this great personality in this life. And talking about instructions, the first thing that it really this instruction has stayed with me so many times, about the smiling part. That why don't people smile? It is so true. I mean, when you sometimes hear the lecture, you can relate to it, because this is the thing that I had in my mind as well, that what is the problem with people? Why don't people smile? When you see somebody, you smile. That's so natural, right? But that doesn't happen. And sometimes somebody smiles at you, and the same person the next time doesn't smile at you. And you think, okay, what have I done wrong? It's just a thought that came to my mind. I remember, like, I was sharing this with Krishnadas and Prabhuji also, that I don't know. Suddenly somebody is not smiling at me, and it's a simple thing, but it is so complicated. And it's so hard for so many people to achieve. I think it should come very naturally, just smiling. When you see someone, you should smile, isn't it? So this instruction by Mahārāja, it might just seem like a very simple instruction. But actually, where I thought about it, and I thought, this is learning how not to be complicated. That is the instruction behind this. As soon as your heart is clean, you smile. You don't smile means you're complicated. Something is going on in your mind, So and that is what we should not do. That's what Srila Gurudeva is saying. So it might seem like a very simple instruction, but it has such a deep meaning in it. And every instruction has been realized. You can see that because of the practicality of it. When somebody tells you something, just say you say Vruddha, the Vruddha instruction. When somebody is telling you something, they can tell you without experience, and somebody is giving you an instruction with the experience. There is a lot of difference in it. There is immense difference, and you have the respect for the person when the person has experienced it, because then the realization and the instruction is not fake, and you can relate to it. It is genuine, because I have seen there are sometimes these imposters, people will try to say things, you should do this, you should do that. And you know that because if you have done the same thing or you've experienced the same thing, when you're hearing it, then you feel, oh, it doesn't make sense. It's not practical, that happens. But with Srila Gurudev, I mean, you can relate to it straight away, touches your heart straight away. Yeah, this is it. This is how I should be doing. It inspires you. I feel like there's no hard work required after you listen to the class. You don't have to do any hard work. You just have to listen to the class. That's it. You're done. You can start. You're already on this level high, So it's very, 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 very motivating. So that was the first one, the smile part. The second one was about renunciation. Srila Gurudev saying the point that, if you have that renunciation attitude, then you can be happy. That again, such a deep instruction. It's very, very hard because we are attached to all these things. We have all these knots tied everywhere. Then that knot with Krishna, how can we, even think of it? And this is the thing. I feel like it's spot on. There are so many times you want to do things and you don't know how to do it, because you can learn, like you learn from your parents how to do things. But in spiritual life, there are so many things. You should be doing this, you should be doing this, you should not be doing this. But the how, that is so important. That how comes so clear with Srila Gurudev, His Holiness Mahavishnu Goswami Mahārāja. It's so easy to understand how to do it. And this thing, if you renunciate, then that is the best way for you to then be able to do your devotional service. So that was the second point. The third point was about the rejection. That when Lord Rama was throwing the stones, that means Lord Rama was rejecting it. And so we should not perform any activity in our lives, any karmas, so that we can be rejected by Lord Krishna or Lord Ram, or otherwise we're going to go to the hellish planets. So that was another instruction, I think, which was very, very important. The fourth instruction that I still remember was about experiencing devotional service. You cannot, it cannot be given. You have to, and how do you do that? So you follow the process of reading the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, the scriptures, that doing your devotional service, then in that way you can realize the names and the beauty, and then you can realize Lord Ram and Radha and Krishna, like that. So that was also very, very practical. How to do the importance of a Mangal Arati. Maharaj has always stressed that as well. And so when Srila Gurudev says this, Srila Gurudev used to quote these proverbs, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. And it's so true. Even in the material world, it is so much true. It's something that I think personally that we should aspire to have a consistency in following, in our own lives. That's what I would say to myself. So yeah, I just did not want this lectures to stop, and I just feel the last thing I wanted to say was that how the atmosphere of how you can be transformed to that consciousness very quickly. You may be in whatever you are, like Srila Gurudev gave two examples, like Lord Ram was going to be coronated, and then in 1 minute everything was changed, everything completely different happened. And then the whole thing was in the opposite direction. Same thing happened with Pandavas as well, in Mahabharata. And then also Srila Gurudeva, I think, in one of the lectures, Srila Gurudeva quoted this, where in, I don't know where, this was in South Africa, there was a whole lot of businessmen who were from Gujarat, and they were very, very prosperous. And in one night, they were asked to leave the country. My Prabhuji might correct me if I'm wrong. I think it was South Africa. And then Uganda. So that happened, and Maharaj gave this example that, in one day, they were so prosperous, they had to leave everything behind and just go. And then they were taken by UK or something like that. So this thing, I was thinking that, we are so attached to things. And when we have to leave, we have to leave. We cannot take anything with us. So practicing that consciousness is so important, because if we don't practice that consciousness daily, then how are you going to be able to do that at the time of death? There's going to be all these attachments and everything, and you want to think of that, and it's going to be too late. So I think this is a lesson. If Lord Ram can tolerate that, I mean, there was no need for Lord Ram to do all those things, but still, because he came as in the form of a man, so then he had to follow everything, and so much of austerity and so much of pain. So there is so much to learn, and it just makes me feel like, all my worries are so little, and I don't know what I'm even. And my worries. I'll just stop it. And for that also, Srila Gurudeva has given one instruction. If you're sick or you have all these worries, treat them like uninvited guests. Don't invite them. Don't give them any accommodation in your mind or thought. And it's the best instruction. As soon as you tell yourself, oh, I'm so sick, oh, I feel this, that sickness will come to you and it will just grab you, So Srila Gurudeva's instruction is there. And so I try to follow this. Okay, it's okay, just don't think too much about it. As far as you can go, you just keep going. There will be a point where you can't, and that's okay. It's fine. Up to that point, just keep going. And that instruction is so practical. So yeah, there's the small things and big things. And every instruction is so powerful and so merciful. I just cannot thank enough. I cannot thank Lord Krishna enough for having Srila Gurudev in our lives. And I cannot thank Srila Gurudev for showing us, this attachment to Lord Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Yes. Yes, that's right. So it's so funny, many times, and especially wife problems, my wife doesn't listen to me. I would laugh and say, after marriage, so I would say, oh wow, this devotee got married, He said, how are you doing? How's marriage? Very nice, Mahārāja. He's saying very nice, but his face tells a different story. His face tells the whole story. You would laugh so much. This is one pet. We'll hear that also. Krishna willing, by Gurudev's mercy, this kind of. So, you see, Srila Prabhupada's teachings, Prabhupada were very, very practical. And every saint, in ISKCON, or have understood Prabhupada in their own particular way, which is all perfect. It's great. And Mahārāja Srila Gurudeva has understood and followed in a particular way. So that mood we are trying to follow in Hare Krishna WECAN. So not to demean anybody, it's just the mood that we like it very much, And you'll find that moment you also get to that mood, you'll like it as well, So Mahārāja is physically not there, but still very much there. Follow one instruction is there in your life. So alive, not only alive and kicking, he'll kick you also. Hare Krishna. Oh God. All right. Now, I would like to say, continue the conversation. Thank you very much. And those who are joining us, who joined us from YouTube, on YouTube as well, if you like to say something, write something, please feel free. And I'd like to read that as well here. So please feel free. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees.
Prabhuji, you're on mute, I think. Srila Prabhu.
Is who are on mute?
Sorry, Prabhuji. Yeah. Yeah, I was on mute. Can you hear me now? Okay, probably I have to start again. Thank you, Prabhuji. I was saying thank you very much for actually putting this video together. Yeah, it was really nice to hear Guru Maharaj after a long time, Prabhuji, and it was very engaging as well, because normally actually my mind is very flickering. As soon as somebody become very monotonous, or actually I lose focus very quickly. Offering, but my ears were actually locked. What Maharaj was saying, and it was very engaging. Even actually I was listening word to word, and it's a lot of very nice realization, the way Maharaj put forward. So Sanjay Prabhu already shared one of the realizations regarding when Lord Ram was actually throwing the stones, as Lord Hanuman and other monkeys were also doing the same, but they're writing their name. And I heard this before. I think you shared this long time ago, and I also shared this realization with our group as well. But the way Maharaj actually described, actually, because I was thinking on that point, how that stone can float, with just Lord Ram. And I was thinking, because they were doing it with the devotion, which one way may be all right, but how Maharaj said they were writing Lord Ram's name on it. So stones were actually getting the association of Lord Ram. And because of that association, they were floating, because there was no difference between name of the Lord Ram and Ram himself. So actually, we have heard this philosophy, right? Actually, being absolute, there's no difference between the name and the actually person. So how nicely Maharaj put forward that actually philosophy there, actually made it very clear that actually how that actually effect was there, that actually the stones were floating. So I realized that, Prabhuji, thank you very much to Maharaj that actually explained that point very well, because I think a lot of people ask that question, how can that float? So it was very nicely explained by Maharaj. And yeah. Second point, actually, I was thinking, where Maharaj means, Mataji also shared the point about smiling, yeah, it should be in pictures, but it's very hard to smile. And Maharaj said, we don't smile, that's why our cheeks become very stiff. And then that was really, actually the way Maharaj put that forward was really actually funny as well, but it's a reality that actually we see it, that we forget to smile. And he said that actually Lord Ram, he's very compassionate, Lord Krishna, compassionate, and we are actually being a part and parcel. We should be also compassionate, but we are not. And Maharaj said that we force ourselves to be cruel. He used that particular word. And I was thinking, how can we force ourselves to be cruel? And it is so true, when you think about that point, that Maharaj used a very appropriate word, that we force ourselves to be cruel. By nature, we are not cruel. We are very compassionate, just as the Lord is. But because we are actually very much attached, to actually gain all these temporary things, all this actually burden that we carry, we forcing ourselves, out of our natural position, we become very cruel, because we are very attached to try to get these things. And Maharaj said that any person, whenever he comes in front of us, we always think, what can I actually grab from him? So I was thinking that mentality actually is very much there, it's actually thanks to Amrish Prabhu and Maharaj that actually, because we are actually listening to this philosophy, at least we understand that we should not be like that, So we try to control ourselves. So that is actually, is a mercy that we're actually receiving. And Maharaj actually made that very point that this education, the Vedic education that we are very rapidly losing. And Maharaj said that we should actually make sure our children get this education because this is not taught everywhere. And Maharaj said, if anybody is doing that, this actually giving this Vedic knowledge or education, we should actually generously donate there, actually promote that. So our children will not miss that. Otherwise, where they will go? So that is actually very important point that, because I'm sitting here because somebody has done it for me. So we should do the same for others, So we are very much actually grateful to, Amrish Prabhu and Hare Krishna WECAN, Prabhuji, because without you, we shouldn't be here. So that is very important point. And Maharaj said that the biggest thing is the preaching, Actually, he said that we should actually have the desire to actually try to help other living entities to get out of their misery. So I was thinking on that point, and he especially made that we should train ourselves, especially during the Vanaprastha stage, we should have that fervent desire to do the same, do something for other living entities. And I was thinking, what is that? And Maharaj said that actually preaching is the most important, with the preaching, they will have this knowledge, and we are also actually feeling little bit, comfortable because we have taught this philosophy. And I can understand actually why we need to do this, because sometimes I used to think, why we take all the trouble, people even don't listen, don't come, I had to call many times to just make them actually appear, in the program. But I think it's a biggest service, actually you can do it for Lord Krishna. And Maharaj has actually very much, put the emphasis on that point. So it was very nice, Prabhuji. And also actually the realization you shared about Maharaj actually regarding the foam in the house, that actually brings all the disease. So I was actually, you said, Prabhuji, and Maharaj said that actually, I have actually lived that life when I was small, we born in the village. So we didn't have all this, foam and all that. And we used to sleep on the floor. And actually, I still remember, we used to sleep, and in the morning, actually, we have been instructed to roll out our beds and put it in one corner, and, that was a life. Even I remember using, we used to go in the field and sleep in the sugarcane fields because we want to protect the field from the boars, wild boars. And I used to think the wild boar was so big, how come they actually going to fear me? But my grandfather used to say, no, you just go and sleep in the middle. I said, okay. So it was actually very nice lifestyle, and everybody was healthy, but now I see the actually world has changed. Even my family, they have become very prosperous, materially and all that. And I can see everybody's disease with this blood pressure.
Prabhu, your voice is gone. I'm not sure why.
Voice is going?
Yeah, back now. It's back now.
After blood pressure, it went away. Yeah.
No, Prabhuji, I was saying, they got all the diseases, all these modern diseases. But I remember when I was small, my grandfather, and there was joint family. I hardly actually heard anybody was sick with these things at the time. But life was very simple. Actually, everybody was just doing agriculture, and there were actually, the cattle and cows were in the house, and we used to wash them and all that. But actually, after this was my realization, Prabhuji, actually went back to India this time, and because most of the families, they moved, they moved to the urban areas, somebody become doctor and all that. They're very prosperous now, but when I was small, we used to have a lot of milk products in the house, all that. And I went back this time, and I couldn't get a proper milk or even the, the yogurt. I thought I get better things. We get better things in New Zealand than here now, because, and I was actually very disappointed. Actually, it doesn't feel like I came back to home, because we're buying milk from the dairy, and that doesn't taste good at all. And Navina said the milk, she didn't like it. It doesn't smell good, doesn't taste good. So actually we have material progress, as Maharaj said, but we are actually losing quite a lot of things. Yeah. So that's very nice that simple lifestyle, even Srila Prabhupada say that actually now I'm realizing the milk and little bit piece of land, I think we can become self-sufficient. So yes, Prabhuji. So that's what I actually realized. So thank you very much, Prabhuji. It was very engaging class. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. You raised some nice points there, about children. See, yesterday we had our festival of Krishna, the Prasad distribution. According to our capacity, we contributed together, we cooked together, all austerity. Then we called people in. 1.5 days was spent on that. We all were very busy for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, On the day we were busy, you all cooked, you all distributed it. We had a big program, and devotees were outside. They also were engaged, who were not doing this. They were so happy with this. And our children, I could see Navina was making plates and all that, You see, this is the thing. We may not be lasting on this earth for long, but as children, they will remember this. It was so nice, man. I used to make these packets and give, even if they were associating together, small kids and all, that is good. This is what is needed. I would give away my everything if I had this opportunity to have my children engaged in these activities. I would give away everything for this. Trust me. Trust me. We used to do this with Krishna Das also. And I'm very happy all of you are doing it. And wherever you are, do this. The children's engagement, otherwise they'll become Varna Shankar. No matter what you do, they will not listen. Especially the children when they grow up nowadays, man. Whoa, very, very. So this, from childhood, if they are grown up like this, nicely done. You see, if they are engaged in seeing that the parents are giving, not only giving the money, but working very hard and giving the money, and then they are cooking also, and they are packing also, and then they are giving also, and they're coming home and they're tired also, and then evening they're doing a program, and then chanting is going on after that in the night, So they will do it. They will do this. What they see everything. Maharaj would say this so much. In every class, Maharaj would say this, that you're doing this for children. Remember this Krishna, this Jai. At the time he was Jai Shri Krishna Das, before initiation. This Jai Shri Krishna Das, it is for him you are doing. Remember this. And wow, we're very serious about it. And I accepted everything. After all this 20 years, 22 years, whenever, I can now feel it, how true it is. And it is not only to me. Through me, Maharaj has spoken, I'm talking to everybody. Everybody. So, the biggest thing you can give to your children is not money. It is this culture. They are going to be taught, being lying, people are lying to them, not being innocent. This is going to happen. But somewhere, every human being requires a place where they can feel sheltered and they can be innocent, where nobody will judge them. Where everybody accepts their position. I like this, I don't like this, yes and no, no problem. We come together, we do activities for Prabhupada, and then once it's done, we're going back to our places. We come back again. So this has got its very, very high potency to us and to our children. A good point you raised about the children. This is all about children. And do whatever you can. Do not take away these activities from the children. They see you doing arti at home, they'll do it. You see chanting at home, they'll do it. You reading at home, they'll read it. Doing programs at home, make sure children attend the programs. There's no compromise, full stop. And we've got so many programs going on. 3-4 programs in a week, man. That's it. And then we're doing Kirtan programs, Yuga Dharma Kirtans, Festival of Krishna, full on. So this is it. This is it. Let's intensify this. Somehow we have got this. Let's not change it. We can grow it for our benefit. Yes, it benefits others is a side motive. Benefits us, that is the main motive. Pranante kim karishyati. Very nice. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Yes, please, Animohan.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Oh, thank you so much for organizing such a nice class. It was very engaging, and it was really nice to listen to all the realizations of the devotees as well, equally as relishing. And I was just thinking that Purna Pragya Mataji echoed a lot of the thoughts that I was having about the class as well. About, like, she covered so many things, that exactly the things that I had noted as well in my head, that this is something really nice. And one thing that I really liked when Maharaj said this point, that that Ravana and his whole dynasty was killed, was completely wiped off the face of earth, but Mantra was not. Mantra is still here with us. So with Mantra, she is the representation of mode of ignorance, and that you can't do anything about. Still within us, that is, that envy will never leave us. We're always competing with other people and all those things. That mantra will never leave our heart, and it is so true that I was just thinking that the moment Maharaj said that like we have in our job, we have bonus letters that come in at like sometime. So you don't open, like I've seen in my office, they don't open their own letter first. First they'll ask around, what is your, how much did you get? And after they know that, then they'll mentally prepare themselves that, okay, this much I can maybe get. And then every time they'll be disappointed. And I would think that why to ask other people? And this is so much prevalent. Like, everybody is always into each other's business, how much you are working, how free are you, what are you doing, and all those things. I've seen this so everywhere. Nobody is satisfied. Everybody's always just competing with each other, and we've made a business out of it. This is encouraged that you should always be better and better, always compete, but it's really not. And this is why we don't smile, that as Purna Pragya Mataji was saying, because you're always competing with each other. So why would you smile at somebody else? Because you're just always in that competition. So that was something that really stuck with me. And the second point, I think in the beginning, Maharaj made that about parents, that parents should always be obeyed, that within a second, Dashrath Maharaj said that you have to leave the kingdom. And within a second, Rama was ready, willing to leave. So to that extent, he said that this is one of the very important instructions from Srimad Bhagavatam, that parents, the foremost responsibility to obey the parents. And I always, like, as you just said, Amrish Prabhu, that about the kids these days. And I remember when we were growing up, and like with our mothers, generally we have a slightly more intimate relationship. So we have this laughing and everything. But with our father, we have very respectful and very awe and reverence. So the moment he says something, immediately it has to be done. No, whatever you're doing, everything has to be dropped, and that has to be done. And that is how we were taught. And recently, an uncle of mine, he had come from US, and the kids have grown up in US as well. And my uncle so nicely, so politely, he asked his daughter that, please bring me a glass of water. And she was like, yeah, I'll just do it in 15 minutes. And me and my sister were just looking at each other like, we never knew this was an option. This is not an option. You really have to run. And I was thinking, this is so crazy that this is an option for the kids to be like, yeah, just give me 5 minutes, I'll bring you a glass of water. So I always think that this at least in India, people still have this. I increasingly seen so many of my nieces and nephews and my sisters and brothers who are growing up in US and everything, that this quality is very much missing. That you should be willing to make sacrifices for your parents and their happiness as well. And I feel that is very much absent. So I very much resonate with this instruction as well. And as just like a general overtone, again, this point that with so much sense of humor, with like Mahārāja has such a great sense of humor. I always think whenever I listen to his lectures, it's so nectarian that we spend, like, I know people who spend so much money to go and watch stand-up comedians and their programs and everything. I'm like, this is so useless. Just listen to this lecture. This is so nice. Such nice jokes he made about Dirham and being resonated with Ram. Yes. And it's so nice, so completely engaging, and very, very, very nectarian. So I really, really enjoyed it. Hare Krishna. Thank you so much for watching.
Hare Krishna, very nice. Imagine this. Yeah, that girl, daughter, when she was small and crying for water, she couldn't even say, I want water. So the parents actually have to train their ears to know that when the child is uncomfortable for something else, crying, So this cry is when a child is uncomfortable about some physical difficulty, pain or fever or something. Now this crying is for food. The children have to be trained. The parents have to be trained, and they know this. This is exactly what happened. Now imagine this, child asking for food and parents are coming in 15 minutes. Yes, you'll get in 15 minutes. I'll do it half an hour. I'll come. I'll have my drink and I'll watch my TV, play my game, or whatever I'm doing, nonsense, I'll finish and I'll come and feed you. Is it happening? No. This is the problem with this one. And how can they be happy? You see, everybody wants to be happy, but they do not want to make others happy. You will be happy when you make others happy. Yesterday, when we were talking in the program, Festival of Krishna, that's what I said. Yes, when you're happy, you'll be singing, that's what we are doing. You'll be dancing, that we are doing. And you'll be distributing that love, that is when you're really happy. And the happiness will increase when you distribute that happiness. That is the point, and that is the thing. When we are convinced about it in our heart, then we'll be really happy and showing everybody how to be happy. And children, that is the point, Mahārāja would say, man, what is this, man? When you're a small child, you cry so much, the parents would have broken your neck. You would not even have known, man. And you're doing like this, Oh, Mahārāja, if Mahārāja present, Mahārāja would have really scolded that girl, get up and do it now. But this is the point, you see. This is the culture that has to be given by the parents. This is very important. Very important. Very nice. I said all of you are very lucky. Those who are from Indian bodies living in India are more lucky than living outside India. But living outside India in the shelter of Prabhupada and Krishna are equally and more happier, because now India is rapidly degenerating. But again, as I believe, it's on the surface, You scrap it out, they'll be all right. India still, they've got the tendency in it. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you, Prabhuji, for sharing such a nice lecture of Mahārāja. It's always so beautiful to hear Mahārāja's lectures. And as we all know that he's famous as laughing sannyasi and always jokingly saying so like very, very powerful punches are there in his lectures. So I really like that he said, we always like dirhams because there is Ram in there. It gives us happiness. And then we go for aram because we get aram when Ram is there, then there is sukh shanti, and then we get that's why aram, otherwise there is no aram. Without Ram there is no aram. And the point which Divyanshi just shared about mantra, that mantra is actually ruling everywhere. She was not there only, it's still ruling and everywhere. And it is actually her, I think the mantras samraj is going on everywhere so rapidly. We can see that. Then there is a point of not smiling, and we remember that when we came to New Zealand, we were so happy to see whenever we were walking on the road or anywhere in park, and people will see each other even though they didn't know who we are, and then still they will smile, always ask how are you. But nowadays, especially after COVID, it has changed so badly that no one even wants to look at you. And even if you smile, people just they don't want to reply whatever you are doing. I mean, they don't smile at all. It's so rude now. The jaws has got very, very stern now. So, whatever Mahārāja has said in the lecture is very true. Actually, people have forgotten smiling at all. Like Mahārāja says that a cow is not coming to you; it's a just human being, and you still can't smile at him. So rude. Then the point where he says that Rama was very powerful, Shiva Bhakta he was. And but he was not satisfied at all. He wanted everything for himself, not using things in the service of Krishna or Lord Ram. He was wanting everything for himself, and what is the result happened to him? So we have become like, I mean, I see everywhere it's the same thing going on. We just want everything for ourselves, for our comfort, not for others. And that's why we have become so self-centered nowadays that only the enviousness is there, only bad feelings for others is there. And in that environment, we are trying to preach. We are trying to distribute Krishna's message. So it's difficult, but yeah, with Gurudev's mercy, it will go on. So that our hope is only Gurudev. So that's what I learned from this lecture today. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Absolutely right. Today something happened, you know. Yesterday we had program. Day before yesterday I was doing, and today. So 2 days, you know, now it's a fijao season, you know, that fruit fijavas. You know, like guava it is. I had so many fijavas to carry. I got a whole lot, 1, 2, 3. Now, sir, I've got already there. I've made big juice of fijava it's in my fridge today. We can't have that. So we have already fijavas we've got here. I washed it and had it. I said, what do I do with all these fijavas, man? So I took some fijavas, a lot of them, and started to move around. You know, my neighbors said, hey, you want? So this opposite guy, they're all very rich people, you know. So he said, thank you. I said, I'm awfully thankful to you, is what he said. But I've got bucket full of hijab myself. My wife is making jam of it. So it made me think, man, he had bucket full, but he's not giving to others. He's making a jam for himself. Now that I went to him, he said, thankful to me, he remembered this at least. But he came to me with hijabas, you know. And then I started to search, how do you make jam of hijabas, you know. Now, unfortunately, yesterday I wanted to give so much, but I was not here. You know? And now it is so many there. To go all the way there, it will cost me so much. For you to come here, it's costing so much. But lots and lots, man. Yeah. And ultimately, I gave to my other neighbor, and he just told me sad news, man. He said, my wife passed away 2 weeks ago. My neighbor here, this side. This is how it is, Western world. In India, if your neighbor, something happens, you know immediately, man. Here, you don't even know. He said, last Friday, that means just 2 days before yesterday, you know, we had a funeral at my home on this. I said, oh my God, they just moved in, you know. And I just saw them because I was painting my house on the 2nd floor. I saw them, you know, just 2 weeks ago, you know. And I said, oh my God, it's awful. I'm so sorry. He just was stunned, you know. And I gave him, she's like, Fijavas? He said, yes. I gave him. And they all said, I had big land. Now, because of old, I've come here in a smaller piece of land. I had sheep and all that as well. And so, and people are so suffering, man. So suffering. To just give. Giving is forgotten. And those who are giving will stand out. So all of your hard work, Matajis and Prabhus also, in prasadam distribution, will always give you results, you know. Always give you good results. And regarding the milk, she said, you know, well, I can tell you one thing. We get milk straight from the cows. So if you want milk straight from the cow, you'll come all the way to my place. And it is costly. It's not cheap. There are cheaper milks also available up to the rural areas because we live a bit away from the city. So rural areas will get cheaper. But those cows are not protected. This is protected cows. But you have to come all the way, drop here, go back, pick up, go back, and pay a little bit more. If you are keen, let me know. But I tell you, that milk from the cow, straight, 1 day old or the same day. It is, you cannot, I put water in it. When I drink, I put actually half, 50% water in it, and then I make my cereal in it. So we are done long ago, with Jivan Yatra. So if you are interested, let me know. And you'll be very happy. And put some milk in it, you put some water in it, you dilute it. But right, but you can get makhan, so much makhan, man. And my son just drinks like that. I said, how can he just drinks it? I said, no, well, it's growing child. It's different. For me, it's different, So it's all right. We are milk happies. Hare Krishna. Yes, please, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a nectarian lecture by Srila Gurudev. Whenever we listen to any of Srila Gurudev's lecture, we feel like everything is implementing on you, this is for you. That's what you think, yeah, it just should happen. There were so many good points I wanted to share, but I just want to share one, that when Srila Gurudev said that New Zealand is such it's the best country for the cows. Because there is obviously there is free food, there is so much grass. We have to do lawn mow every fortnight, we can see. So, and it's like throughout the year. But I realized that we are so fortunate to live in such a country which is so suitable for the cows, where there are millions of cows can be protected and can be.
But you are going to Australia, Sydney. That's what Mahārāja worked. You're going to the same place, Sydney.
Oh no. Yes, Prabhuji. So yes, it is indeed a beautiful country. I've been to Melbourne, and I was telling my Prabhuji, I'm not so keen to move, but there are some situations like, yeah, we have to just think about this move, but we are feeling positive. We have all the blessings from all the devotees. So I hope we'll just carry on from there. But here we see that there are so many farms, and even I know here people who have their cow farms. And then sometimes I ask them, like, what do you do? So they just like to keep the cows as long as they are giving milk. And once they stop giving milk, there are so many slaughterhouses as well. And one of my friends, she has her farmhouse. She was telling me that. I was like, so they just inject, the cows and first, and then they just, she said, like, there is a big hole where they just dump them. And because, she doesn't send them to the slaughterhouse for their meat. I was like, that's at least better that you don't send the cows, to the slaughterhouse. But so it's like, I feel like, there should be more and more protection in this country for the cows, as is so much naturally, free food giving for the cows. But there are as many as farmhouses, there are as many slaughterhouses as the farmhouses, and the farms for the cows. And the other thing, how Srila Gurudev said that it's how difficult is that for us, to give a smile. And I realized that sometimes you like give smile, and then other person might think that probably don't know that what we want from them, although you don't need anything from anybody. It's like you're just smiling because you're appreciating, to see them or something. So yes, it is getting hard and hard, and people are so much tangled in their own, like I can see, like even anybody, they're so much busy in their own things with their devices. There's so many devices in each house. And I think this also affected But I remember how Srila Gurudev said, like, oh, okay, so through this device, we can listen to the lecture. We can, like, you know, how, if it is used for preaching, then this is the best thing. Otherwise, this is just ruining your life. So it shouldn't be that you are just so sticky to the devices for other, you know, purposes, like for your entertainment. But yeah, it's the way that how we use things. It's the way how we are ourselves, how we are taking ourselves to use something. So this makes such a big difference. But Srila Gurudev always encourage us to just do the things for the, you know, everything which can progress us for our, to grow in our devotional service. So that's really good. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mother. Hare Krishna. I remember when the computers came, you know, and laptops came. So Maharaj, what is this going on in this laptop and all this computer? Complete nonsense it is, Maharaj said. He said, everything is in the computer. Nothing is in your brain. So we have to write down all the slokas, memorize, no, and memorize. There's nothing there, man. All the things going on. Maharaj was so hammering us so much badly, you know, on computer. And one devotee went, said, Maharaj, we have got the whole, you know, Vedas, Veda base inside, no, Maharaj. Whole Bhagavatam is here. Maharaj, show me. It was there. It is very good. Maharaj said, this is very good, you know. This is how it is. This should be used. Only for this user it is very good, you know. Otherwise it should not be used, you know. And Mother, you reminded me about this cow protection pot, you know. See, I think few years ago, about 4 years ago, I was spending a lot of time and energy. So we'll buy land and we must do cow protection. So I asked a lot of devotees around, very senior devotees, have been around in the movement for a long, long time, but living away separately, you know. You won't even see them locally in the congregation. So I remember this particular devotee, he had told me this long ago when I met him. He had said that as a devotee, it is very difficult to do cow protection. So, and I've not seen him for a long time because he lives away in Canterbury somewhere, you know, in farming. So he was doing some farming, helping out somewhere locally here in Pukikoe. So he was staying here in this area, you know. So I met him with Mangalati and I told him, I said, you told me this, explain to me it more, you know. He said it is like this, that when the cow, as long as the cow is healthy, you have to give her, doctor has to come, check, they have to inject the medicines and all those things in her, you know, invariably. It goes into your milk supply. Okay. Then he says that when you don't want to kill her. You want to make sure that she's comfortable and all that, you know, the cow is protected and all that, you know. But you'll be forced, your neighbors will come and complain to the animal husbandry people. So like he's cruel to the cows. The moment the cow cannot stand, when the cow sits down, you have to kill them. If not, the neighbors will call animal and you'll be arrested for this. So cow protection and taking care in India is quite different to that of New Zealand. There are so many rules and regulations, you see. And that's what other devotees were doing. It told me that I don't kill cows, you know. So I have to support them. So now I'm asking for donation. You know, I have to increase my milk supply. I told him I don't mind. So that's how it is, you know. So cow protection is a very tricky business in the Western world because they treat cow as a commodity. Her stool and urine, everything is used for fertilizer. Milk, and once they're dead, the bones are used for something else, blood is used for something else, skin is used for something else, everything they tear out and use. It's very cruel. And you cannot say that I don't want. So I remember one more devotee there, you know, Bodhimanta. He was narrating a story to me. He's saying he had for one cow, and the cow, they rescued the cow from the slaughterhouse, you know, and this cow had a bit of injury, you know, the leg and all that, you know. And he said, my friend had a little land, so I gave the cow to him to be taken care of, you know. So then One day the friend called and said, listen, you have to take the cow back now because cow is old and now cow cannot stand. I'll be forced to kill. He said, oh my God, So he was not taking the decision. He said, no, we're not killing and all those things. It dragged on for many, many days, and some months. He could drag on as much as possible. Then finally he said, you have to kill. I'm going to kill it. You have to kill it. That's it, done. Otherwise, we'll be arrested or whatever it is, which animal cruelty and all those things, His friend was not a devotee, he's just not devotee. So he said at the end, I was so distressed. I used to go to the cow, chant with her, So cow knew me, he told me, all these many months, all these many years. We had a bond. So I said, now what do I do? I prayed to Krishna so much, or Nrsimhadev so much. Finally, he called the vet. And he said, we decided the vet will come with injection, lethal injection next day. Because cow was very sick. She couldn't even open her eyes, and lying on the floor. He said, I have to take the karma. What do I do now? It's very, cow killing is like, my God, and every whole bhakti will be destroyed, So what's to be done? She got the vet, got a time. He said, Prabhu, I took the vet with me. He had the injection. I went to the cow, close to the cow, and she knew I was there. She opened her eyes to look at me. And then she closed her eyes, never opened again. She passed away on her own. How beautiful is that? She didn't allow him to kill. She blessed him before she went. So that point made me a little, how do I do this cow protection thing and all this? I don't have the capacity myself, what to do. So doing it, we're supporting them, Hare Krishna. I just reminded of these few things, Thank you. Sorry, I digress, but I remembered these points. Hare Krishna. Anyone else like to say their realizations? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you very much, Prabhuji, for showing a very nice Guru Maharaja's lecture. Really enjoyed to listen to it. Thank you, Krishna Samarvan Prabhu, for your hard work to editing all the the lecture and all the slideshows, as Amrish Prabhu mentioned earlier. There's so many nice points Srila Prabhupada, Srila Gurudeva has mentioned. As Devanshi Mataji was mentioning about the obeying parents, and I also remember the previous days when we used to go to school and college time. I remember my mom used to wake us up earlier, and then we were slightly like not too much scared to my mom, but scared to our father. And then when moms wakes up and we will say, okay, give us 5 minutes, and then, but my dad comes and he just say like that. And then I remember I used to stood up holding my chadar in my hand, and I stood up on the bed, like that much we used to scare his dad is here, like that. So, so we're trying to scare to Navina, but she never scared of us. Like but still she's doing good, but can't I just feel like that she obey us, but she don't scared of us, like, and then how should I say this? I don't know, but yeah, we used to be lots of respect of father and all like that, and then out of that we used to be scared, like that. So that was the one point. And then Guru Maharaj was mentioning in the lecture that we do everything for our body, and body grows old. There is no point to do anything for our body, like that. So, so sorry. So we should do everything for our soul and to serve to our Lord Krishna. And then Srila Prabhupada mentioned the point that the renunciation is the more happiness. So we should focus that one in our devotional service. Should renounce the things what as much as we can and focusing on to the devotional service. So this is my realization. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Mother. Hare Krishna. It's a respect, to the Father. Yes, it comes naturally. The respect to the Father. And one is always a bit this thing, there's a respect to follow. Yeah, nice. Thank you very much. Yes, anyone else like to say the realizations? Share, please feel free.
Krishna, your duties. Thank you, Amrish Prabhu. Thank you, Krishna Prabhu. And thank you, Old Panya Devidasi Mataji. You must be working from behind. I know for sure. Because, it is like this only, it's a teamwork. Okay, so Mahārāja makes things very simple. When I was listening to all of you and Amrish Prabhu's realizations in various space and times, which were realization from 2002 till 2000, even now he's got realizations. So my realization when I met Mahārāja, first time I met him in Auckland. So I didn't realize much because I used to go to all the classes all the time. So wherever there's a class, I'll go. So I was in a devotee space in a class, but that is only sannyasi to whom class I went, or maybe one more when Amrish was also there. But that time I was not connected to Amrish Prabhu. I was going to some other class. So that was some Malaysian Prabhu. I don't remember his name also. So, whenever when I was with Mahārāja, I met Mahārāja 4 times, I think 4 or 5 times. So I will not speak. I'll just watch. I'll just absorb things. Group of devotees doing prasad distribution, doing this, doing Bhagavad Gita recitation, meeting Mahārāja, how they have been talking to Mahārāja, how they have been moving Mahārāja in the congregation in that place. And what I liked about Mahārāja when I saw him in Rajkot, that Mahārāja led a very simple life. And he practiced what he said. And I don't know about you, all of you, but I try to repeat that message. We call it preaching. We repeat that message. And there's so much in our scriptures and in Bhagavad Gita and in our realization that I feel that I should only be talking what I can practice. That's where that's people judge you, that is he practicing that thing or not, or he's just talking. And as a preacher, we get carried away. I'm talking about myself, and we start giving big philosophy. And that's where I said, okay, I like Mahārāja. Mahārāja was sleeping on a broken bed in a place where no air conditioner. And and he will say that you should serve in a way that nobody notices you. So that's another thing. So he was very austere. Mahārāja told us how to, and of course I've learned through this Amrish Prabhu and this Hare Krishna, we can see long time now, how to maintain relationship with devotees. Particularly when I never realized that how to maintain relationship with ISKCON for that matter, for the temple, for the services, for the interactions, for all those things. And whenever I met Mahārāja, I met him in Mumbai a couple of times, and I don't know how I met it. And Mahārāja repeated same message again and again. I don't know how he remembered all those messages. Same message he will repeat. And I like Mahārāja's simplicity. Simplicity was, and of course, a big philosophy in a very simple words. And I've seen Mahārāja practicing this. And I remember when I was first time when I met him, Mahārāja was singing Mangal Aarti, and like when you go to temple and Mahārāja was singing and we were repeating. So I'm so fortunate I could attend that Mangal Aarti where Mahārāja were singing. And after the class, Mahārāja gave the same relation on this, not relation, the class on this verse, Matravas Pardarisho, Pardravyani Lostavat, Atmavas Bhutani, Ya Pashati Sa Pandita. So I was looking for that notes and I found that note, that what Mahārāja told us, and I never understood anything. Never. I didn't understand because I was absorbing the atmosphere, the devotees. Because when I was in Auckland here and when I went there, well, there were a lot of things. So the translation was दूसरे की पत्नी को अपनी माँ की तरह oh, sorry, let me read in English. Huh? He is a wise man who sees the vice of others as his mother, the wealth of others like the clod of earth, and all beings as his own self. So that was the first class. Then Maharaj gave in class in a temple, and then I went to a picnic with Maharaj, and where me, Maharaj, were only there, nobody else was there. I don't know what I was doing there. And Maharaj was telling some jokes, but yeah, I don't remember that joke. And because maybe I was so much in awe and reverence. And the one thing which I remember for this lecture of Maharaj, and Maharaj brought that Ram Navami celebration into Hare Krishna lifestyle. That's how easily he simplified things. And yes, we all complicate it. And Maharaj said that if we decide to clean our house, 50% things will go. And I look around and I realize, no, yeah, it's so true. When we don't, and 50, all nonsense is there. We don't need them. They're just there. I've got so many clothes, I don't know when I'm going to wear them. I don't use them. They're sitting, filling my wardrobe and so many things. 2 cars. What I'll do with 2 cars? Okay. So and then Maharaj repeat that if your house is clean, your mind is clean. It's so true. And it has to be practiced. It has to be understood. So Maharaj still alive. Maharaj still inspiring us. And I was listening to other devotees in Nagpur who are giving realization and talking about Maharaj in this group. And they have realized this also, that they have spoken certain things which they have never heard, or they never knew those things. I said, yes, then Maharaj speaking. I told them, before you talk about these things, you have to pray, and that's how you do it. So Maharaj is actually everywhere. He's very hands-on, and that's why we should be very careful. So yeah, my pick is that Maharaj lived a life, what he said he practiced, and that's what touched my heart. And that's where I'm very cautious when I talk to other devotees. So that's my reaction.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Guruji. Yes, thank you very much. That's right. Maharaj is very simple in this, and always wanted simplicity. Yeah. Okay. Hare Krishna. Anybody else like to give a realization? Please feel free.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. I just had a question related to the cow protection and milk and these things, that because even at my house currently, fortunately, we get milk directly from the cow only. So, and it's very, yes, and it's very good quality milk. You can tell the difference. Like, I cannot drink packeted milk anymore. And as a child, I remember I would be running after my mother to give me more milk, and she would be very exhausted with how much milk you consume in a day. But I think about this lately, that right now I have that I'm fortunate enough to get that milk directly from the cow, and there's no problem. But when it comes to like packeted milk and those things, we know that even though in India we definitely we can't kill cows, so even the milk that's coming from like the packeted milk and all those things, we don't know for certain, but at least at the surface level, the information that we have is that those cows are not killed or butchered, and then either meat is taken away or those things. But there is still some how do I say it? I mean, they're still not kept very nicely, in a very industrialized and in very restricted and uncomfortable positions, especially the packeted milk that we get. So the cows are not very comfortable. And so like I think that whenever like I'm in a stage at life that I don't have access to direct cow supply, would it be like, is it ethically right to drink that packeted milk? Because we know for a fact that those cows are probably being very tortured and very not in a very good position. Because yeah, I'm very sensitive to this subject, so that's why I wanted to ask.
Hare Krishna. It's a Pandora's box, in ISKCON. There are big debates on this, Especially many devotees that fight about this. No, we should become vegan. So they came out being vegan. Krishna was not vegan, So there are big debates on this. I'll tell you what, Prabhupada was also present on earth. At the time Prabhupada was speaking, there's not in houses, but Prabhupada still drank milk, right? Now somebody would say that, okay, Prabhupada, because you have to preach this. Okay, that's right. But at the same time, he still drank milk. He did not discriminate. He said, you should drink milk, Now in America, you'll be surprised to know, they put in cow's bones, crushed bones in the milk for it to get more, calcium. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do there? Here at the moment in New Zealand also, cows are slaughtered. What are you going to do on this? I had a Muslim friend, and he told me, Ambrish, you're a Krishna devotee, you must become vegan. They kill cows, man. Let us all become vegan. He gave me all this. He was vegetarian and vegan, So I said, good on you, mate, but I'm all right. I became vegan for some time for this reason. Yeah. And ultimately I've realized this point. Of course, we get cow milk directly now, but still otherwise also that every devotee will have their own points. Okay. Majority says that our whole movement is on milk, There are some who say that if you drink that milk from that cow, industrialized and offer to Krishna, the cow is purified too. Now, yes, in a way, but there is not a real clear answer. What is not contaminated? Now, I'll tell you something which will be shocking you more than anything else. It's a lateral answer, okay? Lateral thinking answer. In all Western world, you go and buy vegetables and fruits. Those vegetables and fruits are made mostly from bones and blood of cows and sheep. There are actually, even in supermarket, like you are growing, like we grow vegetables at home, you go gardening. So there are, most of the fertilizers are blood and bone. So when we buy fertilizer, I have to actually go and search and find out and composting which compost not. So I get the most least costly because it's got nothing in it, I don't know, this is enough for me. Forget about it, which has got no animal products in it, So there are just only few. I think Mahārāja has got their own brand, which has got very cheap. And so I think even there's a who's competition of Mahārāja, they are also same Bunnings, So where will you stop? No, but in the supermarket and the market, you go and buy vegetables, fruits, nice fruit. How do you know it doesn't have blood and bone? And they sell it. Sheep, who have got sheep farm, or blood, fresh blood and bone from sheep. Fertilizer, they sell it. So if you're going to say that, then you have to go and check with your suppliers of fruits also, and it may be coming from Timbuktu, from all the places in the world, not in New Zealand, from around the world. The banana comes from somewhere, Ecuador, they be putting anything else inside, snake skin or they put inside. I don't know. So where will you stop? It's a lateral thinking answer. You see? So that's the point. In Kali Yuga, Prabhupada said this is an underlying answer for everything. Okay, remember this answer. Srila Prabhupada had said this. There's nothing in this material world which you can offer to Krishna. Everything is contaminated. But when a devotee is sincerely chanting, being a sincere devotee, when he or she buys things and offers for Krishna, it becomes purified. Okay, now I know there will be many thousands in ISKCON devotees and non-ISKCON devotees will disagree with me. I'm not here to fight with anybody. I'm just talking about Hare Krishna WECAN, those who follow us. Amongst us, also somebody says, I don't follow you, I'll become vegan. Please do so. We don't fight. You do what you want to do. No problem. That's all right. It's up to you. And Krishna loves his own, milk and honey and all those things, Yeah. Is this okay? I can't do a better answer than this. The same answer I can phrase in a different way,
No, it's perfect answer. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So if you go and stay anywhere, any other country, you're going to have this problem, big problem. India, they may not have still blood and bone in the vegetables and fruits. I don't think they have got. What do you think, Srila Prabhu? Sani Prabhu, hota hai? In the farming, do they put blood and bone fertilizer in the?
No, Prabhuji, I think it's not very common.
Not there.
There is blood and bone meal, but actually people, when they know, they actually choose when to buy or not. You know? There is actually, yeah. So I remember actually when we used to buy fertilizers and somebody told me, oh, it is coming with, there is a, you know, kill animal parts and all that. So we said, no, we don't want that. So it is happens, but it's not very rampant.
People using cow dung quite much, probably in my area.
Right. Cow dung, yes, cow dung is happening. That's correct.
It's getting like, coming back now again. People aware about it.
Yes, yes.
But still they use chemical fertilizers more, like urea and DAP and all that.
They give the free. They're given free urea and all that in India.
No, bro. You have to buy. It's very expensive. It's very expensive, and that's killing them. Like they increasing the cost of farming. That's why they want to come back on cow dung, because that's cheaper. But then again, it's because, as you said right other day, that everybody wants now. You know, they want profit now. Yeah. So that's making because with the cow dung you have to it takes some time to disintegrate to become compost and all that. But nowadays some bacteria is in the market. You spray it and it comes makes it compost in like 40 days or something. Or even yeah. So it's still like, it's not chemical, it's bacteria, but yeah. But again,
it takes about 6-8 months for the cow dung to disintegrate and to be usable. A year, yeah.
I don't know if they make it sell it here or not. It's called like waste decomposer, some bacteria.
Here they pour cow. They pour blood and bones. You know?
Yeah, I haven't heard the blood and bones there, but again, I don't know the chemical factories what they're using. I don't know to make DAP and urea.
It may not be. I don't think in India would have. No. I don't know.
It's coming from like Russia, Ukraine, on that side. Those chemicals, fertilizers. Right. But because of that, they need to use a lot of pesticides. Probably. That's the bigger problem there with the vegetables and all that.
That's why in India, I remember John Key, when he went to India, he said that India, our exports of the animal products are less, cow, because of the cultural things. You know, otherwise they first sell cow meat. First sell cow meat. In the UK and all that, in New Zealand, cow meat is the costliest cow meat in the world. Top quality. Then Australia, you know, New Zealand, Australia, top cow meat. My God, you know, demons. Anyway. Okay, so we are still, Indians are still lucky. I said you guys live in paradise, you don't realize it. What's up to you? What can be done? But you say you don't live in India. That's also correct. I'm living here because of preaching, you know. Okay. Is it okay? Your question is answered, Mother?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, Hare Krishna. What I took out from this today's class. Yeah, okay, my wife wants to say.
You can say that you just like really follow Srila. You don't have to change anything. Then Srila is not like discriminate like that. And we're also not patient.
Yes. Same thing what I was saying. My wife is saying that you to follow Srila Prabhupada, just follow. Prabhupada never discriminated against this milk or non-milk and all that, you know. He knew this situation. Even he used to speak, slaughterhouses are there. So he knows cows are slaughtered, so why do we drink milk? All those things were there. So we just follow Prabhupada on this, you know. As I said, others may disagree, so no problem, they may disagree, all glories to them. We do it this way, you know, simple. Okay, so what I realized from which Srila Gurudeva's class, the one thing which stood out for me, and I have to share, is this about the children. That we have to give them this opportunity as much as possible with regards to our temples or centers, where they can come in the house to be converted into temple. So they get the opportunity to be Krishna conscious. Otherwise, if they do not get any opportunity there, or only partial, they won't be able to survive this. won't be able to survive this. I'm telling you, it's very hard. So you'll have to reinforce them from every angle, at home, their activities around it, like preaching, like, food distribution, prasad distribution, all those things. They're involved in this, and there's a good association they've got good. So then they don't have the opportunity to go. They may have other association also, but they've got this association also. You understand what I'm trying to say? This is the problem. Many devotees could not give this to their children. So in their house, they were devotees, they go to temple, that's fine. But the association outside was too strong. They could not fall back upon the association. That's when Hare Krishna weekend, we want to do that as an idea. That when we do our programs, Festival of Krishna and Kirtans, they're also there, So they will have, apart from that, they will have this also. In temple, home in the temple, yes. Then our activities, yes. This is how they continue. And they're protected. This is what I realized, And this is one of the main points with which we started the program. We used to say this a lot for the children, keeping children in the center. Yes, that's what I realized. Thank you very much. I think we should conclude today now. We'll conclude now. It's about 7:10 now. Now, whose turn is it today to sing Mahārāja, please hear us? Is it my turn? Who sang last week? Mother sang last week. No.
Krishna Prabhu.
No, it was Navina who sang last week.
No. Subi sang last week.
No, it was I. No, I did not sing. Who sang last week?
Subi.
Shubhadra sang last week. Oh, Shubhadra sang last week. She's not there today, is it?
Doesn't look like it.
Yeah, doesn't look like it. So whose turn is it today to sing?
Madhav will sing probably.
Is it Madhav Prabhu's turn to sing?
After Subhadra, generally he sings after Subhadra, but we missed one between us.
Okay.
Yeah, he can sing.
Okay. Okay, Madhav. Here you go.
Yeah,
Your turn now. The whole screen is yours. Please sing with nice actions. Okay. 1, 2, 3, start.
Mahārāja, please hear us.
Mahārāja, please hear us.
We have learned some real good stuff.
We have learned some real good stuff.
Mahārāja, we have learned one thing.
Mahārāja, we have learned one thing.
And today for you, we will sing.
And today for you, we will sing.
If our room is clean,
If our room is clean,
then our mind is clean.
then our mind is clean.
If our mind is clean,
If our mind is clean,
we can do anything.
we can do anything.
If our room is dirty,
If our room is dirty,
then so are we.
then so are we.
And if we are dirty,
And if we are dirty,
we're not happy.
we're not happy.
Wasting time
Wasting time
is the greatest crime.
is the greatest crime.
Because wasted time
Because wasted time
means a wasted mind.
means a wasted mind.
So best is your time
So best use your time
when you're in your prime.
when you are in your prime,
And your whole life
and your whole life
will be sublime.
will be sublime.
If your wealth is gone,
If your wealth is gone,
then there's nothing wrong.
then there is nothing wrong.
And if your health is gone,
If your health is gone,
that's a different song.
that's a different song.
If your character dies,
But if your character dies,
then the world will cry.
then the world will cry.
Only saintly behavior,
Only saintly behavior
that's humanity thrive.
lets humanity thrive.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
We must always remember Krishna
We must always remember Krishna
and never forget him too.
and never forget him too.
But how are we to practice with so many things to do?
But how are we to practice this with so many things to do?
That is the greatest question.
That is the greatest question.
And here's the greatest clue.
And here is the greatest clue. You must learn to work so
nicely that Krishna remembers you.
You must learn to work so nicely that Krishna remembers you.
So listen very closely.
So listen very closely.
And make your thinking sharp.
And make your thinking sharp.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
Let's learn how we can live and work so Krishna won't depart.
If something sees tomorrow,
If something's due tomorrow,
finish it today.
finish it today.
Whatever sees today,
Whatever's due today,
do it now, don't delay.
do it now, don't delay.
Your friends might be lazy
Your friends might be lazy
or doing bad things,
or doing bad things,
but you think again,
but you think again,
don't follow them,
don't follow them,
and you'll win the end.
and you will win the end.
Whatever work we're given,
Whatever work we're given,
we do our very best.
we do our very best. We
only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
only live with what we need and give Krishna the rest.
This is how to live, to work and to play.
You learn
If you learn to
live
live
this-
this way, you'll see Krishna every day.
This is how to live, to work and to play. You learn to live this way, see Krishna every day.
And when the time is up, he'll take us above. He'll
Sing.
sing it down to him with a heart full of love.
And when our time is up, he'll take us up above. We sing and dance with him with a heart full of love.
So
So-
chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame
It's the only
is the only way
way.
this world will ever become sin.
So chant Krishna's name, his glories and his fame. Is the only way this world will ever become sane.
Now please ask this greatest question
Now please ask this greatest question
and find this greatest clue.
and find this greatest clue. You
You can only remember Krishna
can only remember Krishna
if Krishna remembers you.
if Krishna remembers you.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai.
Jai Holiness Srila Mahavishnu Goswami Mahārāja, Srila Gurudev ki Jai. Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Shri Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Jai. Shri Nitai Gaur Chandra Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Mahavishnu Goswami Tinamine. Namo Vishnu Pada Krishna Vistaya Bhutale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurmani Krishna Nivesheshu Naripasarisa. Hare Krishna. We had a very wonderful program today. So what we realized today, what we heard, and every one of us realized what we discussed, let us keep in our hearts, and it should hopefully improve intensify our chanting, as Maharaj says, no? Intensify our chanting. Okay, so Krishna willing, we'll see you next week, same place, same time. Till then, chant Hare Krishna and be happy. Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Bol Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Bol,
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama.